This episode is brought to you by the Project Manga Patreon, the best way for viewers to support the project and allow us a means to keep providing new and quality content to our subscribers. Go to patreon.com/projectmanga and find out more about the perks we have available to patrons, including early access to all of our content and exclusive videos like behind-the-scenes footage and additional manga reviews. That's patreon.com/projectmanga. Welcome back, everybody, to Project Manga. I'm Knox.
And I'm Nickums.
And we are beyond excited to finally be kicking off our JUJUTSU Kaisen tier list stream that we organized to celebrate our 2,000 subscriber milestone on YouTube. First and foremost, guys, we just want to give a major shout out to all of you guys out there who support us, watch our videos, your patronage, viewership, all that shit. Showing up to our streams, it's crazy. Like, every day that we kind of do this, you know what I mean? We wake up, we go into our Discord and we see our community come to life, and you guys pull up to all of our streams and you guys sub to the Patreon. That kind of shit is wild, and we would have never expected to see this kind of support, especially after this amount of time. So for the past couple of years, thank you guys so much for your support. Absolutely.
Been a wild ride. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for real. Also, thanks a ton for your patience and bearing with us throughout all of the scheduling issues that the stream has had and things like that. But yeah, we're finally here, and as you'll see, we're not on YouTube. We're instead on Twitch tonight. This is because the last time that we tried to go live on YouTube, there was a bunch of technical difficulties, and this is a pretty big stream, so Twitch has been historically more reliable, so we'll do it on Twitch tonight, but then of course it'll go on Patreon tomorrow, and then a couple days later YouTube will get it, and we'll set it up as a premiere so that we can kind of try to recreate this setting that we have here on Twitch for the YouTube viewers. But also, as you'll see, we are joined tonight by some very special guests. We got Dancho from Dancho's Hideout, Sensei from the YouTube channel with the same name, and for the very first time on any Project Manga related media, we have the Broken Ronin. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight. This is essentially the cavalry or the heavy artillery that we called in for this occasion, since this is such a massive subject. But I'll let you guys kind of run down the line and tell those, in our audience who might not be familiar with your content, what you do and where they can find you. Starting with Dancho.
Yo, it's your boy Dancho from Dancho's Hideout, as my man Noxie said, and as I always say, I'm your favorite below average JUJUTSU Kaisen YouTuber. I'm just here to have my fun. I'm so proud of my boys for the 2K subscribers.
Thank you.
I'm happy to see them doing their thing. And as they said, you can catch me on YouTube after this at Dancho's Hideout if you want to, but let's focus on the fun here tonight, you guys.
Let's go. Thanks for showing up, Dancho. Sin, what's up, man?
Yo, what's going on? You know what I'm saying to everybody in the chat, it's Big Sin, you know what I'm saying? I'm here more so for comedic relief, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know me, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna let these fine gentlemen do their thing with all the tier list and all that. I feel like my list is gonna be mad different because I just like different characters, you feel me? But
I think all of our lists will be super different, you know what I mean?
Yeah, hopefully. But hey, appreciate y'all having me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in the chat, hope y'all doing well. Love y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Thanks, Sin. Ronin, what's up, bro?
What's up? First time on the stream, gotta say what's up to the chat. I mean, type of content, I mean, just if you're liking this stream, right, you're here for a tier list on JUJUTSU Kaisen. I do a lot of JUJUTSU Kaisen stuff to stay on topic there. But really, I'm just excited to talk about JUJUTSU Kaisen characters in general. This tier list has me, I'm super interested in hearing how everything's gonna turn out here. I can see this being a very interesting discussion on different characters and things like that. So I'm really happy to be here.
Fuck yeah, dude. Glad to have you,
Good
man.
shit.
Hell yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks, you guys. So this is the squad tonight. And I'll make sure to put all of their links in the description when we uploaded the VOD to YouTube so that YouTube viewers know where to find you guys at. But all right. So getting into the tier list, though. Okay. So I'm sure you guys or most of you probably have some idea of how tier lists work. But for those that don't, talk about the rules. So, this tier list is based on character, not strength. Sorry, meatheads. This tier list will have a total of 6 tiers. We got S all the way down to cheeks, okay? The highest tier can have no more than 3 characters, and the majority vote between panelists will decide that tier placement. Every other tier besides S has to have at least 5 characters. If not, we will rearrange this list until they do. This isn't something I foresee happening. There's definitely more than enough characters for it to fill 5 in each tier. But just in case that does become an issue, I thought that would be a fun stipulation. But I really don't think that will happen. But if it does, we can rearrange. Each panelist will prepare their own list prior to the stream and send it to a pre-established third party. This is LKF Ashes. He helps us out with all of this kind of stuff all the time. We've all sent our tier lists to Ashes already. He's got them. Now, when the stream concludes, we will open up polls that allow the community to vote on whose list and reasoning they preferred throughout the stream. The winner will receive a special Jujutsu Kaisen related commissioned art piece, and we'll have one of our artists get to town on that once the stream concludes, or once the polls conclude. But as you see here, oh, not yet. Boom, boom. Okay, as you see here, we have our tier list. Right? Now, the way that we kind of want to go about this stream is I will announce the character, and then I'll basically be like, okay, where do you guys got this character? And if it's a unanimous decision, we'll place the character and then we'll keep it pushing. If we disagree, then that is, kind of our time to have a conversation and kind of preach our case for the character and the placement of where we think they should go. Eventually, we'll whittle this down if there is a disagreement to one of 2 tiers, and then we'll put that to a majority vote and then place the character. So there is like a little bit of a competitive aspect here, but it really is about the conversation. You guys, when you are voting, do your best to consider the tier list for the individual panelist and also the conversation at hand. We definitely know that there's going to be people who are just like, I like this tier list, vote for this panelist. But we are trying to make this, a debate conversation, so there's a couple more factors involved there, but that is really all I've got to say. So, gentlemen, Jujutsu Kaisen tier list, a part of the 2000 subscriber appreciation stream for Project Manga. Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we should.
All right, great. Starting off, as you guys can see, Gojo starts in S tier. That's kind of expected for a lot of people, but you never know how the conversation will go. We might have to argue Gojo out of S tier because there can only be 3 characters inside of S tier, so that
unlikely.
That could
we'll
be
see.
That could be a fun little avenue of the stream. But all right,
Ooh.
Okay. The very first character we have on the list, I wanted to put some heat in the front and some heat at the end. So we got Kugisaki Nobara as the first character. How do we feel about Kugisaki Nobara? Where do you guys have Nobara at?
I will put her in A tier.
Mm-hmm.
A.
I agree, A.
Yeah, I also have her at A. What about
tier.
you, Ronan?
Yeah, A tier for me as well.
Okay, cool.
Ooh.
So that was our first unanimous pick here, but we got to say words about Nobara. If it is unanimous,
yes,
I do think that we
sure.
should still say some words, because Nobara as a character, I feel like in Jujutsu Kaisen, I feel like obviously there's been a lot of controversy on the web about how Jujutsu Kaisen's female character landscape is kind of influencing the genre. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And regardless of what side of the fence you are in that argument, the things that you can't deny is that Nobara is a badass. She don't need no man. She's cold-blooded with her abilities that aren't like girl abilities, like I kiss you and then something happens to you or something like that.
Right.
Like she beats you with a hammer. Okay, like that's raw as fuck. Okay, and these are just things I feel like her character represents. You just don't see as often in the landscape. So we gotta shout out Nobara, especially because she's the character that kind of set that foundation for female characters in Jujutsu Kaisen that we all, at least me, I put that aspect of Jujutsu Kaisen storytelling really high. You know what I mean?
Right.
As far as the female character writing, because I feel like it's really or everywhere.
One of
else,
the
but-
few characters generally that we've gotten a backstory, like a flashback for, right? So that's like super hype. I love, just getting more character development for characters generally. She's, I think, in my opinion, the best female character in the series, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
I think I agree with
agreed.
you. Yeah. How do you feel about
The timing for
Nobara,
that
Dancho?
backstory did.
I could be here all day talking about Nabar, but like just to add to what you said, not to sound like a broken record, I would say that I think I think what made the whole web thing blow up was the recent episode with the anime, like her against Momo. We finally seeing that, and we get her dialogue saying, "I'm me when I'm beautiful, and I'm me when I'm strong."
Yes.
I'm Nabar, and I think that is what makes her a phenomenal female character, because I think Gege made it sure you knew early this isn't how this is going to go. She isn't someone where her highlights are going to be her looking pretty here one manga chapter that's random, and then another one being a badass written like a guy. She's like just her,
Absolutely.
If you know a strong woman in real life, that's what Nabara is.
Yes.
Like that's all she reminds me of is my older sister, to be honest.
Bro,
So I think she's just really awesome.
all the girls in Jujutsu Kaisen remind me of my sisters, bro.
Yeah,
well, except for Mei. But you know what I'm saying.
Good.
Yeah,
Pretty
absolutely.
much.
Ronan, how do you feel about Nobara, dog?
So kind of like how Dancho said, like I could be here all day talking about Nobara. Like honestly, I could be here all day talking about a lot of characters, but Nobara, I think what makes her so impressive as like a female character is like kind of like spinning off what Dancho said. It's like the beauty aspect of her, like kind of like the quote unquote girly girl, and just being like an actual sorcerer aren't mutually exclusive parts. Like they're just parts of a person, right? Like one thing I think shonen do a lot is they boil someone down to a core character trait when that's not really realistic as to how humans are. Nobara clearly stating and actually showing that she is a complex human being that, doesn't have to stay static and, just being vain or just being overly, like macho. I think it's just really cool. Like it's just really cool that Nobara is just a person. Like it just feels like a person you can meet in real life.
Absolutely.
That just got a hammer and hit you with it.
Yeah. And we talk about this all the time about like how we feel like shonen authors especially have a really hard time with female characters because there are historically successful routes that you take these female characters on, and on top of that the society makes it hard for men to really like resonate with women in Japan, and by extension it makes it hard for them to write them, you know what I mean? But like when it comes down to it, like if you're going to bother to put women in any kind of media, you know what I mean, whether that's like manga, comic books, whatever, like it's just lazy writing and misogynistic to not give them the same kind of courtesy that you do male characters. And I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen is the series that really wanted to hammer that point home, more than anything else in Jump. You know what I mean? Like what other series in Jump has a female core cast that does what Jujutsu Kaisen does? You don't have any kind of over-sexualization. You don't have any kind of ditzy schoolgirl type characters that hang, all over other male characters. And Nobara was the first, character that really showed us that this was the kind of story that this was going to be. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Love her.
Absolutely. Nobara's an A unanimously. Let's keep it. Let's keep it
Easy.
moving. Easy A. All right, now we got Inumaki Toge. Oh wait, Sin, did you want to say anything about Nobara?
I mean, for real, most of y'all hit all the points on the head. I think I like Nobara so much for a lot of the reasons y'all said, but I just really have a hard time, and this might just be me personally, but the love interest trope is something I just haven't been interested in a long time.
Me too,
in anime
bro.
and manga. Like I'm just not interested in that.
Yeah.
And I love to see Nobara really be able to say like this is me, no matter, like y'all, like Dancho said, the beautiful me, or this me is me, bro, the strong me. So I think it's nice to see. It's a kind of a refreshing change, in my opinion, as far as especially with something so new like this. And there's a lot of reasons why I've been falling in love with Jujutsu Kaisen. I think Gege is very progressive.
Yes.
I think that they touch on a lot of different things in this manga, and I'm sure we'll talk about some of them other things later with other characters. But
Hell yeah.
The bar is a queen. Straight
Absolutely. Through and
Facts.
through. Thoroughbred. Hell yeah.
Born like this.
Yeah. All right, cool. Absolutely. Nobara, easy A. Inumaki Toge. Motherfucker with the curse words. He be cussing you out. How do we feel?
B.
I have him in C.
Let me double check.
character
Let me
is this,
double
my
check where I
fault?
got him.
Which one was this?
This is
He's the dude
Inumaki
who
Toge.
speaks.
Yeah,
He talks. He has speaking magic or whatever, right?
Oh, I know who he is. I just didn't
Yeah.
hear you.
Oh, sure.
Oh
sure.
yeah, Toge.
Yep.
I put him. Where I put him?
I got
put
him in B too.
Yeah, I put him in B.
Where you got him,
I
Ronan?
see.
I put him. I put him at C.
Okay.
This is gonna be an interesting conversation, but
Yeah.
I definitely did put him at C.
Okay. All right. So this is our first not unanimous decision. So this is where we kind of, decide how we're going to place this character through conversation. So as far as Inumaki, it looks like 3 of us have him in B, 2 of us have him in C. We could very easily just make the placement, but I'm very interested in how you guys feel about Toge and why you have him in the tiers that you do. So Ronan, why do you have Toge in C?
So mainly the reason I have Toge in C is because I think a lot of his appeal comes down to like cool factor and ability rather than like addition to like the themes and like the narrative that Jujutsu Kaisen has. This isn't to say like Inumaki doesn't have it in any case. Like I think his relation with like his lower classmen, like especially like Megany, for example, as we've seen recently with the anime and things like that, are very interesting to see. But outside of like some very limited examples, I think he's just like a generally cool character.
Yeah.
But I think with the criteria I'm going with in terms of like how they add to the themes and their relation to other characters, I don't think I'd be able to put him in the same tier as I'd put other characters that I'd say are in B tier or A tier and things of that sort.
I like that. I had him in C originally, and then I considered the prequel, his relevance in the prequel too. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you guys, are including the prequel in your analysis of these characters for this tier list for the ones that show up there. But I personally thought about this as a Jujutsu Kaisen exclusive tier list, but then I got to people like Yuta, and it made me think, okay, well, now I'm remembering all of this story, you know what I mean, from before, Jujutsu Kaisen. And it's like Toge played a bigger part, I feel like, in the prequel than he has in the main story, or maybe it's really close as far as his relevance in both stories, if we really want to take it there. But it was only after considering the prequel that I moved him up to B. But I mean, I don't know if were you guys considering the prequel at all in your tier list? I forgot to ask you.
Did. I bumped him up to B. Honestly, and this might sound crazy, not crazy, but this is on brand for me. But honestly, bro, he adds a refreshing comedic relief to it. And I know a lot of people sleep on like the comedy elements in certain anime and manga. Some people don't really care for it too much. But I like in serious times that Inumaki can add that comedic relief at times in very serious moments.
Yeah.
Then he'll pop up and
and it's such easy comedy. It's literally
it's not too
sushi
harsh.
Ingredients every time it gets me.
Exactly. It's not harsh. It's not in your face. It's not forced at all. It's just like comedy. And for that reason, like that gave me the extra oomph along with everything else you mentioned in the prequel, of course, Knox, to put him in B. I would put him at like a low B, but I will put him at B.
I like
my opinion.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I kind of had him at C for pretty much the same reasons Ronan stated. But I think it's funny because you said you took him from C to B, but I took him from B to C.
Did you?
Yeah.
So why was he at B, and then what brought him to C?
He was at B because I love Inumaki.
Sure.
Like I just really love him. But what made me bring him down was the things that Ronan said, where it was just like, I feel like Inumaki is the example that Gege's characters on average are phenomenal.
Yeah.
So that's why it kind of had me like, okay, it was even funny that Gege even said themselves, I don't even know why he's so popular. I just kind of just made him,
Sure.
And so like I find that to be the testament of what they can do as a writer.
Yeah.
So I put him at C because I kind of used him as my median. Like I used him as my
yardstick.
Yeah, like if you're not hitting Inumaki, then who are you? And if you are hitting Inumaki, what do you do from there? That's really how I did it.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really good. Okay. I'm cool with Inumaki and C personally. After because Toge isn't one that I thought about too much. You know what I mean? And when Ronan introduced his reasoning for why he has him in C, I can't disagree with that. Like that's
especially like
so fast.
One of my main reasons for putting him in B was like that cool factor, right?
Yeah.
He's so fucking cool that I was like, he has to be in B, right? Like at least B. He's not like super interesting, so he's not A, but like I was like, he's fucking cool as hell. So like, but for the good reasons to put him in C, I'm okay with that as well.
Okay, so Sin, how do you feel? Well, I guess it's majority now, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Sure.
Like I literally put him in B. I would have put him in C if it wasn't for the fact that he makes me laugh every time I see him.
Okay, so Inumaki in C. That's where that's going to be his first placement. That's where we are. Absolutely, we have no idea if this will go into a rearrangement phase. I doubt Inumaki would need to be rearranged if that was the case, but that is his placement. Moving on now, we have Suguru Geto, the teen Geto, not the brain body jumper Geto. This is the true Geto. How do we feel?
A.
I put him at A.
A tier.
Let me double check where I got him.
Get your shit up.
I got him in A too. Where did we? Is that unanimous?
Yep, a unanimous.
Yeah, that
A.
was unanimous.
I think it is.
Nice.
Just a super fascinating character, right? Like
Absolutely.
even setting aside Braden-kun, the whole like motivation of like I want to kill everybody that's not a jujutsu sorcerer, right? Already setting up to him up to be a very compelling bad guy. If you can convince me as a reader that maybe there is some merit to killing everyone, right? Like it's you can play with that, right? Like it's not like I'm just evil for the sake of evil. It's like he has some reasoning because it's like if there's gonna be sorcerers, I'm not gonna give up being a sorcerer. And can sorcerers and non-sorcerers coexist? You know what I mean? Like that question is a very good thematic question for the story.
Absolutely.
I think for me, what made him kind of hit his peak for me was his conversation in the flashback arc with Yuki. That conversation that they had, kind of figuring out like everything that was building up, and it culminated in that moment, and we see that change in him. And it's like it was like beautifully written, man. I love that arc. It's one of my favorite arcs. But yeah, it was easy for me. I even in the flashback arc, like I enjoyed Geto more than Gojo. Me
too, bro.
Like that's my guy. Like I remember
Fire
talking
character.
to you, telling you like, bro, I
This
like Geto
motherfucker
more than
different,
Mahito right now. Like he was like, man, I could see why. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, but at the time, everybody was hype on Mahito stuff. I was a Geto fan like early on. Before that, like I liked him more than Mahito like the entire time.
Yes.
Like,
Me too. Me
That's
too.
fair.
See, like Teen Geto as a character, because like I was talking to you guys a little bit about it in the pre-show. The way that I kind of approached my list is I looked at like the biggest themes in Jujutsu Kaisen and the characters I thought were the best vehicles for those themes. And when you look at Geto's character arc inside of Hidden Inventory and going into Premature Death, you see such a complete and vivid, journey for him from the start of that arc to the end of that arc. The arc starts and it's we are the strongest. The arc ends and it's he is the strongest. You know what I mean? And that line of dialogue right there hit me so hard because it's like that takes a lot for you, especially in a profession where people pride themselves on strength the way that jujutsu sorcerers do. It's got to be really hard for you to see yourself as an equal to someone with that pride in mind, and then watch their body of work as you grow with them, and then realize that they're growing at a pace that you can't possibly hope to match. It takes a lot to internally accept that. You know what I mean? And just watching his character, throughout his descent into Premature Death, and his conversation with Yuki and him seeing Haibara die and Nanami's stress, I feel like it was one of the best displays of the death theme and what death can do to you. You know what I mean? That we've seen in the show besides Yuji. You know what I mean? So
he's crazy. Like I think the thing about Geto that made me love him was he's such a compassionate character, and that's what made him like even fall, was just he was so compassionate. And even to your point where he like accepted that Gojo was moving above him,
right?
I think it was more than just him accepting it. He kind of felt bad for Gojo, like to a degree, because he realized just how much weight was going to start leaning on him, and that there really is this belief, because he had it at one point that they have to do this for the weak. They have to do this for the non-sorcerers. So then he starts thinking, wait, this is really just going to be Jujutsu sorcerers dying, you know what I'm saying? Just a pile of bodies.
Right.
And now Gojo is stuck in the middle of this, and that's why he starts asking. That's why he asked him. He was like, "Are you Gojo Satoru because you're Gojo, or because you're the strongest?" And it's like that was such an amazing conversation, because he's asking him, "Do you even really want to get yourself in this trap? Like, do you even want to do this?" And after that, Gojo really starts thinking like, "Okay, what do I do to change this world?" And I think that made Gojo go, okay, if I can make this world change, I can make Geto come back. Like, that was kind of how I was seeing his thought process. And so the two of them are amazing. I could go on forever.
Right. And see, that's another thing as to, like, you know, with the 5 characters per tier stipulation, is that Gege Akutami is such a good character writer that we could really put all of these characters within S and A tier and feel good about it. You know what I mean? And you know, for the ones that we haven't really seen anything from, me personally on my list, as far as characters that I feel like we don't know enough about, I kind of relegated them to D tier. You know what I mean? I don't know how you guys kind of approach that kind of situation, but as far as like just Gege Akutami's ability to write incredible characters, I was thinking about how this conversation could go, and I was like, I know that we're all huge fans, and we're probably going to have like the vast majority of this list in A. So
when looking at Geto, like, to me, it was like really the small details that really got me, because it was like, like you said, we are the strongest. I peeped that on a reread. I was like, oh my god, like you know, they were really together on that, and I feel like it's like, as Gojo, because Gojo kind of rose to the occasion of Toji kind of attacking them. And I feel like as Gojo ascended into heaven, kind of Geto kind of descended into hell of the Jujutsu world.
Yo, chills, bro. Wait.
Gojo being the honored one, and Geto kind of just, like, the way Geto's like, you know,
fallen one.
He's like, yeah, yes. Gojo starts going on missions alone, meaning Geto's more alone, right? You know, his other partner doesn't really go on missions as much, so he just goes alone. He eats curses, he consumes them. He's like, I remember him describing the taste of the curses, right? And he's like, I'm doing this all for what?
Yeah,
like, what am I doing this for?
This shit is gross.
And then and the scene, because the scene honestly kind of broke my heart when Gojo was like, hey, like, have you lost weight? Geto kind of just like, he's like, nah, just summer stress. And I was like, I know, like, that hit me, because I have done that to people, and my friends have done that to me, where they kind of like push it off, like push a real something that's really genuinely stressing them and kind of like cracking their psyche, and they just kind of like, oh, I'm just tired,
I'm good,
just a little bit of stress, like, you know, I'm fine though, like, I'm good, and then for him to kind of like have that conversation and really just realize, wow, like Yuki kind of, not intentionally, but did implant the possibility of a world where he could finally exist happily with non-sorcerers, and he was like, okay, I can do that. And honestly, that dissension, like, I feel like that parallel with Gojo, of like Gojo obviously having the, you know, I am the honored one, quote, fire, and Geto kind of just like quietly descending into the depths of like the darkness of that Jujutsu world. I thought that was like really beautifully done.
Just a brilliant foil for Gojo's character. You make this character inside of Gojo so larger than life and so, you know, omnipresent, so everything. And it's like, when you get his backstory, it's like, what other characters are we going to care about? You know what I mean? Like, once we're following this flashback, and then you just have Gege Akutami flexing once again with their character writing inside of Teen Geto, and even inside of Riko Amanai, and Urahime was even involved there too. And it's just like such a brilliant cast for the flashback, and all of them did exactly what they needed to do, and nothing more, nothing less. You know what I mean? And just a phenomenal story arc. But yeah, so Geto and A unanimously, absolutely love that. What we on? We're on Panda. Okay, big Panda, baby. How do we feel about Panda? The Dawn.
B.
I gotta remember, what did I have Panda at? Oh,
I have Panda in B.
I have him in C.
Ooh.
I have him at C too, personally.
Okay, so I feel like this is going to be the exact same situation as Toge Inumaki,
because
for the
I
exact
also
same
B.
reasons.
Yeah. But okay, Sin, what do you got for Panda?
Yeah.
If I was being if I was doing this like off of just me alone, put that man at S. You already know Big Panda.
I know how you get down.
Nah,
you love
but-
the animals.
Do stuff up with the animals and all that, but nah, I put Panda probably like I put him in low B, but I could see him being in like high C too. Like
Let me advocate for Panda here, right?
Sure.
Because I think Panda is actually a really cool character
Yeah.
because he's a cursed doll, right?
Right.
Like just the fact that he's basically Jujutsu Kaisen's version of an android, right? Like
Yeah.
he's a robot with a soul in it, right?
Wow.
That by itself, I feel like is compelling enough of like a character trait that like he has to be more interesting than the vast majority of characters.
Sure.
And my list personally is very much like how interesting, how compelling is it for this character, you know, to be in
exist
the
in this
world, you know,
world,
to exist
absolutely.
exactly. So I really think that they're maybe more interesting than Inumaki, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like I'm gonna stick with B here, but
The reason why
That's what
I'm
I'm saying.
sticking with B is because going back to like my original philosophy on this list is what are the main themes of Jujutsu Kaisen and who are the best vehicles for those themes. And inside of Panda, I feel like that was the first time, well, maybe not the first time, but I remember when I was reading through the exchange event, you know, for the first time, and we saw Panda versus Mekamaru, and we get information about what kind of cursed doll he is, why he's different than other cursed dolls and things like that. Whenever like Gege Akutami isn't someone who likes to, well, I'm not going to say likes to, but isn't someone who regularly, like they don't take the Togashi approach to giving you exposition about the concepts in their world. Togashi will, you know, give you books to read to explain a concept, and then he'll rehash that information over and over again to make sure you get it. That's great for continuity, but like Akutami takes that idea and they kind of reverse it, right? Because they have all of these concepts, they care a lot about continuity, you know what I mean? But they give you the information so sparse and so you know, divide, you know, you get it in chunks. You don't get it, you know, right in your face, you know what I mean? So the way that Akutami presents information with their concepts makes you, they'll give you a little bit of the concept, they'll tell you a little bit about it, and then you kind of have to just wait with that information until Akutami is ready to give you more of it. And
but it also stews in your mind, right?
It
like
stews in your mind.
you build more in the background, you know what I mean?
So then when you finally get, you know, this information that you've been waiting for, it's a huge hype driver.
Yeah.
And for me, when I'm going through the exchange event and I see, you know, Panda activate for the first time, I'm sitting here going like, holy shit. Like I cared so much more about the energy system that moment, you know what I mean, than I did before. Like than I ever did. Like at that moment is when I was like, okay, we've really got an energy system here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like domain expansions came, that was hype. I didn't really, I'm gonna keep it a stack. My first time through, I kind of like didn't really know what I was doing. I was just trying to get through the story. Second time through, you know, that's when things start to hit. But the first time through, the points that really stuck out to me in regard to the energy system was when Panda was being explained. You know what I mean? So I think he deserves B for that personally. Plus, he had an amazing fight, and he's just an amazing personality inside of the show or inside of the
that
series.
Mekamaru fight was crazy.
Hard, bro.
That joint was crazy.
Yeah.
That's my guy, bro. I remember like when I watched the anime intro, bro. I saw him jump on the little building and all that. I said, "Hold on, it's a panda in here."
That one little hop over the
Bro,
on
if
the
it
on the
wasn't for me
roof.
seeing the panda, I would have never picked JJK up, bro. I'm gonna be honest. You know what I'm saying? I seen the panda, so I gotta get on this. Like, I started reading, I never looked back. You know what I'm saying? So
Hell yeah.
I want him in B, you feel me? But
I want him in B too. So me and Sin have him in B. Me and Nick and Sin have him in B. I think did Ronan or Doncho give their reasoning for C yet, or was it just the B people?
Just B people.
Pretty sure it's just the B people. Okay.
Yeah.
Doncho, go ahead with your reasoning for C tier Panda.
I just gave Panda C tier because, like I said, like when we had our private discussion, I was kind of harsh on characters. And like I just was honestly harsh. And I think Panda is the one example in Jujutsu Kaisen of a character where I loved them the moment they were introduced. kept loving them as every time I seen them.
Yes.
And now I'm like, okay, now I just need some more from you. So I'm gonna just put you over here for right now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I was hoping in Shibuya I saw like a Panda Mahito interaction, and then Mahito would be interested because he has the 3 hearts or the 3 different bodies, 3 souls, and like I was hoping we'd get some cool like link up between the 2 of them, and Panda could subconsciously protect his soul because he got 3 of them. You know, all that type of crazy. I was hoping. We didn't get anything like that, but but I am a low-key Panda fan, but I was harsh on my character. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna move him down to C because I feel like he was like Toga, you know, he was established as a great character. So there we go. We know on average, you know, Gege makes amazing characters. So
Absolutely.
What's next?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That was it.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't mind him in B though. If we go B, cool. Like,
cool. Okay. Ronan, I believe you had Panda in C too, right?
Yeah, I did.
Why do you have Panda in C?
Okay, so here's the thing, right? Everybody loves Panda. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody loves Panda. Everybody loves Panda. Like, it's not like anybody watches or reads Jujutsu Kaisen like Panda's not cool, right? So I definitely understand putting him in B tier, and I actually don't have a problem with it. But my reasoning for putting him in C tier was because he was he was really fun to see. He was very entertaining. He just had that kind of personality flair that I just love that Gege Akutami is able to bring out of a panda. Like, I mean, like that's just cool to me, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like with Toge where, you know, even when you count the prequels, like Panda has something to add, but I just don't like with the people I have in B tier, because I feel like I was a little bit harsh critically, I think maybe. With the people I have in B tier, I just don't think I can justify putting Panda in that same tier. And I think maybe as we get deeper into the B tiers, we'll kind of, I think my perspective on why I put Panda lower and Toge lower is just because of the B tier. To me, the B tier threshold was pretty high. Yeah. And it kind of just escalated from there. So I tried to be as critical and kind of like gatekeepy, I guess, if that's the word, as possible. Yeah. Because I just wanted to keep the tiers as clean and as kind of close in terms of their character writing as I possibly could.
I like that. I like that a lot. I cannot find it inside of me to argue with that reasoning. But I cannot move Panda from B to C personally. I like your reason. I just can't. I can't. It doesn't feel right to me, even though I don't have an argument for why. Yeah, someone said Panda.
It's vote time.
Yeah. Let's put it to a vote. Let's put it to a vote. Okay, so Panda B.
B.
I'll go B.
Okay.
Oh damn. Okay, there we at.
And Ronan said he
switched up on me.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm cool with B. I'm cool with B. He just. No. That's cool. That's cool. I'm not upset at B, if I'm being honest.
And you want to know what? Like, I can see him in B or C. So like either way, like. I feel like we can all see him in B or C. So like it comes down to like a personal preference where it's like he's teetering on the edge. Like, I don't feel bad about putting him in C, but I mean, like, you know, the majority. Yeah. and he feels fine in B right now. And who knows what happens when the conversation continues. Like you said, Ronan, we'll take a look at B once it starts to fill up, and we might move him around. So I'm cool with him there. But oh, what's up, Kiko? Good to see your name there, buddy.
Kiko.
Shout out to all returning subscribers, by the way. I'm so sorry I forgot to shout like all of you out. I saw a ton when we were you know, had music going, waiting for the chat to fill up.
Much love, y'all.
Mihawk subscribed for 4 months. You're a soldier. Fucking Zay got sauce subscribed. Shout out to Zaytoven. Fucking everybody that's been following, coming from Ronan and Dancho and Sin's community. Thank you all so much. I wish
Big Zay in the chat.
Yeah, Big Zay.
I'm saying.
Oh, that's my guy. He needs to chill on the sun chip jokes though. Okay, anyway. No, I'm kidding. But thank you guys for real for pulling up, watching, following, subscribing, all that shit. And I'll try to do my best to keep up with the alerts from now on. But moving on to Junpei. Okay, how do we feel about Junpei, gentlemen?
A.
You got him in A.
Let me see. Let me reference.
I got him in B. I got Junpei in B.
Yeah, I put him in B. I put him in B.
I got Junpei in Cheeks.
You got Junpei in Cheeks, son.
Nani?
Oh,
did you watch the anime? God damn, that shit was powerful.
Son said Cheeks. I love that. I love the chaos. That's amazing. Okay. Dancho, since that is such a drastic opinion, why is Junpei in Cheeks? Let's start there.
I have Junpei in Cheeks. Like, first and foremost, like I said, I was harsh on all my characters, okay? And I have respect for Junpei's importance in the story.
Yeah.
But as a character, I have him in Cheeks because he embodies everything to me that to be a jujutsu sorcerer you cannot be. Right? So like with me for Junpei, he kind of extremely naive, thinks he's smarter than what he is. Like, it was just a lot of things about him that, like, I couldn't connect with. And it actually made me, like, kind of, like, dislike him. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, just seeing his reaction to things, I just feel like he's just not a like, I don't like his character that much at all. Do I think he's badly written? No, because
Absolutely
I think
not.
his purpose, I think his purpose was to show you what it can be like if you're naive in this world, right? But because that was his purpose, and I'm comparing him to the rest of the characters, I'm like, okay, you're like down here. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I have him below the characters in D because the people in D usually just don't have a chance to prove they cheeks yet.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they just there. You know, like, they just kind of show up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's hilarious.
And other characters, I'm like, you just kind of cheat. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You ain't had the time to prove you cheeks yet.
Yeah, they did. You know what I'm saying? It's like you just coming into class and you starting with a 70 and you got to show whether you can boost the 70 up or you 70 gonna go down. That's kind of what it is. You know what I'm saying?
I'm screaming right now. Oh my god.
But yeah, that's my reason.
Okay, so Junpei Cheeks argument, I'm not gonna front. It kind of slapped. I'm not gonna put him in Cheeks, but I wasn't ready to agree as much as I did with the things that you were saying there. So
yeah, I was kind of just harsh on Junpei. I don't mind him going higher, but I just really just like no.
Well, my philosophy on Junpei is like, I can't find it in me to disagree with anything that you said. But what puts Junpei in B for me is how strong his relevance or how strong his impact on the narrative was at the time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that is something that I feel like hits so hard that regardless of like the real character study critical analysis you do of his character isolated is definitely valid. Absolutely. But I feel like that impact in the narrative, it affects his score so much for me that like it kind of bleeds into that like impartial, objective, isolated analysis that I would have for the character. And I feel like if that narrative relevance, you know, bleeds through enough, yeah, absolutely, I'll put him in B for that. But as a character, yeah, dude, like the way that you broke that down, isolated, I think D or Cheeks makes sense in that regard. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so jumping ahead a little bit, right?
Oh, like, wow. All right, hold on.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I suppose we've not had Ronan go in.
Yeah,
that's
go
a good
ahead,
point. Ronan, give us your points here.
Oh, okay, so I think like what you said, I don't think is wrong. Like, he's naive. He thinks he's like kind of like a know-it-all. But I think it may just be a different in perspective. I think it's perfectly okay and actually great to have characters who are critically flawed, right? Because the thing is, not every character is going to be fit. Like, in my opinion, I think you do have to be pretty much insane to be a strong jujutsu sorcerer and keep your mental state right. Junpei, I think, is a character who he didn't have the support system for that. He was bullied for the majority of his time in the series, right? He gets manipulated and kind of groomed by Mahito.
Yeah. Wait, what'd you say, Sin?
I said, bro was soft. Like, bro was dumb soft. Like, bro, they
don't do the soft shit, man. Come on, this is not the meathead stream.
I know. I'm just saying. Like, I just had to say that. Like, they did his mom's dirty and all that. Like,
mom was bad though. All right, this ain't that stream either. Let's keep going.
Low key though, like, I don't know, bro. I feel like being pussy, bro. If you pussy, bro, I feel like that should like take some points away.
Sure, yeah, and that's fine. You know what I mean?
feel like Junpei kind of had a support system. He just thought he just kind of was a know-it-all. Like his mother literally said to him, "If you don't want to go to school, I understand that, because kids your age are just really intense." Like, and that's what made him love his mother so much, because he knew that she understood. But like, there just was some disconnect for him, and I don't want people to think I don't think he had plot importance. I don't want people to think I don't think him being critically flawed wasn't necessary or even good writing. It's just more so, if I'm looking at the rest of these characters, as many mistakes as these other characters make, including my favorite, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just feel like Junpei just kind of, he was one of the characters where every time I see him on the page, he annoys me. And it's not because of just
He's
his
like
personality.
a Joffrey.
I feel like because of who he is, it gave the bad guys the chances they needed, and it just set so many things up where I was just like, kid, if you would have just thought as hard as you think you was thinking, you know what I'm saying? You would have been in a much better situation, but you know.
Yeah.
Junpei one of them characters, bro. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No. Because I get what you guys are saying, but you can go ahead. I was just gonna kind of like wrap up after you say
like, these characters, man, like majority of them, they just feel like I feel like Gege just writes the characters well. So like, I kind of agree like with Ronan and Dancho in the sense that like you gotta kind of be harsh on some of them. You feel me? Because it's like, damn,
they're all tight in their own way. Ain't no bad characters.
That's why I started.
Really
that's why, like,
when
I did my list, like, that's why when I did my list, I thought about other shit, like other dynamics, other than just the writing. You feel me?
Yeah.
How important they are to the story, like, you feel me? I feel like, and even though I know, like, them just being cool and shit is not like a big reason to put them higher, like, it does matter. You feel me?
Yeah.
Shit like that does matter. You gotta just kind of gotta take everything into consideration.
Yeah, no,
absolutely.
for sure.
Ultimately, these lists are our
gotta
own.
enjoy the characters.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
these lists are ours. We all have a different outlook on how we even analyze manga in the first place. You know what I mean? So naturally, when it comes to specific titles, we're gonna have drastically different outlooks, which we've actually already kind of seen during the stream. You know what I mean? So, as far as you guys' individual lists go, I don't think that there's a bad opinion among the panelists here, and that or that there will be a bad opinion among the panelists here. What it comes down to is just like with a character like Junpei, when there's arguments on both sides for great and cheeks, you know what I mean? We know that Gege Akutami can't miss with their character writing. So with a character like Junpei, I feel like like as far as the objective stuff goes, we're all in agreement there, and it all just comes down to how we feel about this nigga personally. You know what I mean? And
how we interpret him,
right, exactly,
for sure.
Yeah.
So let me ask here.
In kind of.
I was gonna ask,
go ahead, Nick.
When we take this to a vote eventually, right?
Yeah.
What if there's like 2 in B and 1 in C and 1 in D and 1 in Cheeks, right? Like, are we gonna take an average of all the votes?
We want to hopefully try to whittle it down to
like 2,
and then majority vote on both of those, right?
Sure.
So obviously Cheeks is the most polarizing opinion compared to everybody else, right? So like let's double check again. Where does everybody else have Junpei?
I put him in C.
Okay.
B.
A C B B. Right? A C B B Cheeks, right? So this is okay, so this is where it kind of gets kind of hairy, right? Because so if I have him in B, wait, who else had him in B again?
I feel like if two of y'all have him in B and one of y'all have him in A, doesn't he just go in B?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Sure. So from the 3, okay, sure. So us 3 together decide B, and then it's between C and Cheeks. So like, Doncho, are you cool with giving up Cheeks, bro?
I'll give up. I mean, he's always gonna be Cheeks in my heart.
There's so many more Cheeks characters in Junpei. There's like tons of characters that are Cheeks compared to Junpei.
Yo, Knox, pause that, bro. Yo, pause that.
Pause. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But, all right.
bet.
Okay, so B and C is what we're deciding here, right?
Yep,
Putting it to a vote. Who's got Junpei in B?
B.
I do.
B. That's 3B. All right.
Yeah, so
Let's
it's
keep
in
it
B.
pushing. The reasoning is there.
Who about to do Junpei dirty, bro?
That Cheeks argument was going kind of crazy. I was kind of worried.
Nah,
buddy.
I was like, bro, why are you making sense? I was like, bro, why are you making sense in this, bro? Like, calm down.
I was not ready for the Cheeks argument to make any amount of sense. I was like, all right, Doncho, let's see what you go and do here, bro. That was nice. I
I'm
like
glad I
that.
can surprise you.
Okay, so moving on to the next character, we got Big Megumi Fushiguro, and I asked Doncho. I asked Doncho before the stream. I was like, all right, bro, 0 to 10. 0 meaning impossibility, 10 meaning complete metaphysical certitude. Where is Megumi going, and how confident are you that he's going in S? And he was like, bro, 10 out of 10 S tier placement.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
I personally have Megumi in A tier.
A tier.
I put him at A.
Ronan?
I got him in S. I got him in S.
Okay, we got 2 S's, 3 A's, right?
I'm actually willing to put him in S like temporarily, right? Like assuming
Yeah.
we'll come back to it and readjust A and S.
Yeah.
Because like my S's are maybe a little personal, you know what I mean? Like
Sure,
little opinionated.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not saying that they're objective 100%. So I could put Megumi in S for sure.
Man, Megumi in S is tough because like the S tier conversation is where we're going to butt heads the most, I feel like, because there is a limit there of 3 characters. Obviously, everybody watching the stream right now knows that Gege Akutami wrote more than 3 S tier characters in this fucking story. So, like, when it comes down to the S tier stuff, this is obviously where we're all going to be the most critical, I would assume. Megumi couldn't make it into S tier for me just because I couldn't see him measuring up to the narrative impact that the 3 I have in S have. You know what I mean? And going back to my philosophy on this tier list in general is the biggest themes of the story and who carries, you know, who are the biggest vehicles for those themes. Megumi, while being a very big part of the narrative of Jujutsu Kaisen, I personally just did not feel right. He was in S. He sat in my S for a fat minute, like, me and Doncho are about to go crazy on this Megumi shit. And then it broke my heart because I was like, I can't keep him here. You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't feel right for me personally. I don't necessarily have an argument, you know, a crazy argument as to why he's not an S, but I personally just couldn't do it. So I'm excited to hear you and Ronan's, you know, reasoning for the S tier placement here.
Well, Ronan, you can go first because I kind of want to hear why you said it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I will be honest, a little bit of it is personal bias because he's my favorite character. But going from the critical standpoint, well, I do agree his narrative impact isn't as much as some other just top tier characters. I think in terms of the themes that he represents and kind of the contrast he has with Yuji, like Yuji wants to save everybody regardless, or at least that's how he starts, right?
Sure.
He's kind of just like, he saves people because that's what he can do. Megumi's kind of take on being like, bro, why would I save bad people? Like, I'm going to trust my conscience wholeheartedly, right? Like, I'm going to believe that I am in the moral right. And that, along with the kind of like the self-sacrificial thing that he has to kind of develop and grow out of, I think is done to near perfection, right? I think the consistency of him willing to sacrifice his body and soul because he feels like he doesn't match up to like a Yuji
Bro,
or like
he
a
threatened
Maki.
Maharaga like 7 times, ready to just pull the pin on his whole life. He's ready to die at all times.
Yo.
And I just think like, take into account the strongest characters, right? I have to harp on this a lot, but like when you look at Gojo, Mahito, Sugen, like just some of the top tier characters in terms of strength, they all have a selfish, kind of almost insane desire for growth and like their own passions. We see that when Megumi takes Gojo and Suken's advice of like not wasting his potential and just simply, you know, not losing, but actually desiring to grow and win, he unlocks his domain expansion. While it's incomplete, he scratches the pinnacle of sorcery.
Yeah,
like
dude,
that was that
big
moment right
deal.
there. Yeah, when he was like, "Oh, never mind," and then just pulls out the domain and was like, he was literally going on like the direct growth we see from him in the beginning of Jujutsu Kaisen, running away from a special grade because he knew he at least didn't believe in himself
Right.
to the kind of special grade that looks exactly like it, right? So we have that kind of like that physical representation and kind of like similarity to him being able to grow and beat it. I was just like that spoke a lot to me, and his relation to the other characters and the dynamic that he has speaks a lot to me personally.
I love that. And I can't disagree with what you're saying as far as like your point about Megumi reaching that level of understanding of Juryoku to the point where he can throw out a faux, or a pseudo domain expansion, you know what I mean, is a big deal. But we've seen that, like, okay, so Yuji, for example, is the first character that we see tap into the sparks of black. And like that is a big deal for Yuji's character, that he reaches that level of understanding of Juryoku in that moment, in that way. Megumi's point to shine is in his incomplete domain expansion in the moment that you just said. They all have, or they're all going to have, I want to say Nobara is going to have a reverse curse technique kind of situation similar to what I'm talking about with Megumi and Yuji eventually. But I feel like if we're looking at the trio in regards to their narrative impact and the way that they carry the themes of the story, I mean, based on the argument that you just gave and the way that I see this list, I feel like Yuji, Nobara, and Megumi could be arguably S because of how well they represent those leaps in Juryoku understanding as characters. You know what I mean? But like, obviously these aren't the top. These aren't the. I mean, we never know how the list is going to look by the end. But I have a hard time seeing Yuji, Nobara, and Megumi like in S for those reasons. So like, your reasoning for Megumi puts him in S, but then I have reasoning for like Yuji and Nobara potentially that could bring them up to that same level of reasoning, and that just doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean?
I would say to not like, I wouldn't necessarily not to counter you, but my reasoning for putting Megumi in S was the narrative impact, actually. My reasoning is because everything starts with him making the decision of Yuji not being executed. And it was literally that moment of Gojo asking him, is this a personal request from a student? He wants this to be something Megumi wants. And Megumi goes, yes, it is a personal request. And Yuji asking him, why did you save me? If you believe that someone you saved today could kill people tomorrow, why did you save me out of everyone? And Megumi has to challenge that with, well, because I just believe in my good conscience and I believe you're a good person. And that same dialogue and that same conversation is coming back and is hitting Yuji as he's separated from everybody. And he's thinking, oh my God, he was right. He told me this. And I am someone who was a liability for Megumi. Megumi put himself in that position where he now consciously knows I made these decisions too. And I don't believe that he will leave Yuji out and high and dry alone because he believes that's something they did together. Wow. And I think Megumi's character is something that is a driving force for Yuji. And now us seeing how he's affected the Zenin clan and has gotten them active, and now he's their head, and now he had all of these things plotted up and built up. We know that means from here on out he's important. And don't even get me started on Sukuna needing him.
Exactly.
Okay. Real quick, Doncho, I do want to say something. This tier list, and this is something that I forgot to say like when we were starting, this tier list is supposed to be based off of how we feel about these characters as of the end of the Shibuya incident. I understand that scheduling issues and whatnot have pushed the stream back, and now more chapters about that have, enhanced these characters to some degree. Obviously, inside of Doncho's reasoning, he made an incredible point that included later narrative stuff after the Shibuya incident. Right. I did just want to remind people of that and remind Doncho of that. But Doncho, if you wanted to,
I did forget.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
Part off.
Yeah.
But if we just talk about, like I said, and even Sukuna needing him and like him saying, okay, I need your help with something. And that moment, even back to Chimera Shadow Garden, I'm not even thinking about how powerful he became. The mental leap of Gojo sitting there and telling him dying and winning and dying victoriously are two different things, Megumi. Yeah. And he has to really understand what that means. Even in the instance with him going against Toji, he's telling himself, imagine a stronger me. I'm not even thinking about necessarily the power. I'm thinking about how this 16-year-old boy has to mentally grow so that he can match the decisions and things that he's made and the situations that he's in the world. And that's what puts me Megumi S class. I wasn't even really thinking personal feelings. I feel like Gege really has set him up to where he is one of the most important and well-written characters in the entire series. Even if you look at his relationship with his sister, and it's just so much to him that I think they purposely put all of those things around Megumi because he's a centerpiece, you know?
That makes a lot of sense, bro.
That's my reasoning.
I like you and Ronan's reasoning a lot for S. Like I had my issues with Ronan's reasoning in the ways that I said, but other than that, like I agree wholeheartedly with everything that you guys just said. Personally,
Yeah.
I'm cool with putting Megumi in S right now. Personally,
No. It could change.
I'm actually
do it.
so cool with Megumi in S right now. This is something that this is, and like I said, I sat and looked at Megumi in S for a long time. You know what I mean? And I just needed, I guess personally for me, which is one thing that I was so excited about this stream for, is hearing, you know, stands of characters that I guess I don't want to use the word stand because there is like kind of a negative connotation on that now. But
Super
like,
fans.
Yeah, you know, like big fans of characters that I have personally haven't taken the time to analyze as deeply. You know what I mean? And I was so excited to hear, you know, Ronan and Danto's reasoning on the Megumi placement, because I always knew that this was something where I would be totally fine after hearing some reasoning for S to put Megumi there, even if I couldn't personally put him there myself. But I'm totally cool with it now.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We're all cool on Megumi S?
I'll take my W.
I mean, for now.
Sin, how do you feel? How do you feel
Right
about
now.
Megumi,
I
bro?
feel like there's other characters that deserve it more, but
Yeah.
I mean,
We can come back to it for sure. Also,
yeah,
you know.
I'm cool with them being there for now.
So we have four S, one not S.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. So we'll
No,
put
I'm
Megumi-
cool. I'm
Yeah.
cool with them being there. I'm just
Okay.
saying, like, I
Yeah,
feel
for
like
sure.
the conversations are gonna come up.
Right. Yeah. And once this starts filling up, we'll definitely be like, okay, wait a minute. You know what I mean? But I think
Also, Knox.
Megumi is a strong S placement. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
What's up, Nick?
I was gonna say that we're about an hour in
Sure.
currently,
Yeah, do you wanna
and
do
we
an
have
intermission?
about 40 more characters we're trying to
Oh,
place
sure.
here.
Let's go a
So
little
we
bit quicker
should,
here.
a
Yeah,
little quicker, I think.
Absolutely. So Yaga, Principal Yaga, how do we feel?
C.
Okay.
Yes.
That's Masamichi.
No. I had him D,
Yeah.
but I'll go with C. I'll take a C for him.
I put bro in C.
Okay.
I put him in cheeks if I mean.
You put Yaga in cheeks? Okay, all right, look.
Listen.
I can see it.
Okay.
Real quick, to speed
Yes.
through.
Yes.
It's just like he's cool. His initial conversation with Yuji is really cool.
Yeah.
But up to Shibuya, right after Shibuya, he gets a little bit interesting, right? But up to Shibuya, I just don't think he's done anything narrative-wise or thematic-wise that to me speaks out, or he's not even, to me, he doesn't even have that great of a personality to make me think he should go any higher.
You want to know what?
Being kind of harsh on the kind of writing, I definitely have to put him in cheeks for me.
I ain't gonna hold you. I put a lot. Some of you looking at this list now, like, and listening to the reasonings that y'all put certain characters in certain shit. Like, I wasn't really thinking like that when I made the list.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I was just putting niggas in certain spots that I thought was cool. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, for sure.
But
And-
like, I feel like y'all reasoning is mad valid though. Like,
Yeah,
if you're comparing it to like narrative importance, you know what I'm saying, and shit like that. And
Right.
yeah, like, bro hasn't really done much. I agree.
I agree too. And I placed Yaga in C just because like he was a character that I didn't really think too much about. You know what I mean? It was just someone who just felt right in C. So like this is one where I don't have too many emotional ties to the placement. I don't have too much thinking going on at all. So I'm totally cool. You want to know what Ronan just said makes a whole lot of sense. You know what I mean? I'm
D?
totally
I'll put him in D.
we can come to
You want to do D? I
yeah.
can do D.
I'm down with D.
I mean, pause, but yeah.
Knox is down with the D.
Hey, you know, come on, man. All right,
fine.
so we got Yaga and
That
D.
was
We'll
cool.
revisit that. Coming up now, we got Mai Zenin. Okay, and I personally have Mai in cheeks here.
I have her in D.
Okay,
You have Mayan cheeks?
I have Mai in cheeks
She
because,
sucks.
dude, she sucks, dude. Like she's like her entire character
All
to
right.
me, and I'm sure it's deeper than this, but all I can see from Mai, especially with the anime reminding me of her scenes in the Exchange Festival, all I fucking see when I see Mai is like, is Maki. I suck. Suck with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's both be bad together and fuck
ignoring
you
her.
for disagreeing. That's
I have
all
her
I
in D.
fucking see with my, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Where'd you have her, Doncho?
I have her in D. I thought she was higher, but she's in D. So
What about you, Ronan?
Yeah, I have her in Cheeks. It's not like I don't understand her character writing. Like I understand
Yeah.
she's
Yes.
supposed to represent like the negative aspects of the clan. I
Right.
just don't like her.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
if I'm
I
being
don't like her.
100%.
Exactly.
Like please, all to my fans out there. Like it's not that I don't understand her writing. I just not a fan of her personally. Like I just don't think like it just doesn't supersede the unlikability that her character kind of has.
Right.
And her bullet ability is boring and weak.
Oh my god, Nick. Creation is cool.
No,
or
it's
not
boring.
creation. What's it called?
I can create a bullet. That's
The
boring.
the creation was cool, but if it's only used for a bullet, I'm not really with that, to be
Right.
honest.
Yeah. And the fact that it is just a bullet or just one like thing like that at a time is kind of underwhelming. But the potential on that, when I first heard the explanation for it, I was like, this is really fucking cool. And then obviously we get more it kind of gets enhanced once the maximum techniques kind of start getting fleshed out, you know what I mean, inside of Shibuya.
I do
and
want to
whatnot.
say,
Yeah.
I on my tier list it said I had her in C, but I meant to put her in D. But
I
I really don't fuck with her like on a. I'm kind of with Ronan, like I just don't like Shorty, but I think I put her in D because of chapter 42. Like chapter 42 is like one of my favorite chapters in the series.
Yeah.
Like I like that whole
That's Mai versus
chapter
Maki, right?
between Mai and Maki, like beautiful. It was beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
And like how it ended, her under the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, like bro,
It was
I don't
poetry.
know.
It was poetry, and that had to have
was-
enhanced her
yeah,
character.
I
to
think
some
that's the
degree for
only reason
everybody.
I put her in D, like, and I didn't put her in Cheeks.
I
So you go with D,
automatically
or do you
moved
want to
her.
vote on it?
I automatically moved her to Cheeks just because I didn't think anybody would really argue with that.
That's
you know what I
fine.
mean? But we definitely can put it to a vote.
Someone said she also got cheeks too.
I'm screaming. Okay, Shoko Ieri, which is the,
I'm gonna get both.
I guess,
Reverse
you know,
Jutsu Shiki.
yeah,
she
flashback
heals.
Nobara, you know, equivalent essentially of the, you know,
Seems
the,
gloomy. I
Yeah,
put her
yeah.
to C, personally.
Wait, who we doing? My fault.
we're doing Shoko.
Shoko.
We're doing Shoko. So
Oh,
the girl
okay,
that
okay.
ran with Geto and Gojo back in the day
Yeah.
when they were in school.
C.
Fucking yeah.
C.
I have her in B personally.
Let me
Where did I
see.
put her? Where she at?
I'm cool with C though. I threw her in B just because of what I feel like her character is going to mean for Nobara's character later on. So this is entirely headcanon based. I was totally ready to move her, you know, around depending on what I heard. But she
put
just felt
Shorty-
right to me in B based on like our understanding of Juryoku, what she means to our understanding of Juryoku, how further explanations of Juryoku enhance her character and her capabilities, things like that. So
Ronan, what
Would
do
you
you
put her
got?
Sin?
So
I got her in B.
Shorty.
I got her in B
no,
for that.
no, you was asking me. I put Shorty in D.
Okay.
Yeah, I did too.
Sure.
I got
did
her in
too.
C.
Ooh.
Okay.
Where do you
My
have her,
reasoning-
Nick?
I put her in C.
Yeah.
Okay.
My reasoning for having her in C is just D is too low.
G is too
Like
low.
D and below is too low, and and the only reason I didn't give her B is because, like I said, I was being harsh.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Shoko was an example of another character where
Keep going up
clearly
here,
this
then.
is an important, powerful character,
Mhm.
but we just haven't gotten her moments yet, or we just haven't gotten the focus necessarily on her.
Mhm.
But I think as a whole character, I think she's a really, you know, she like I said before, average character that shows you that Akutami does amazing average characters. That's
Right.
really how I
Like
look
for
at
me,
it.
like the fact that she's one of the few reverse Jutsu Shiki users, right? Like that puts
Yeah.
her already at like a more interesting place where characters can learn from her. She can give exposition about like more exposition about how that works exactly to enhance the power system understanding. So I think she has a lot of like narrative potential. Yeah, and I agree it's potential, right? So like
Right.
C maybe is too high. Maybe she's a D in terms of execution so far, but I think her mysteriousness and her like future potential like puts her at a C for me, I guess.
Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah, I like that. I like her in C. I feel like I heard that I heard D reasoning kind of, and that makes sense too. I personally don't feel right having Shoko in D, just considering her potential and just like
Yeah, I ain't mad. I'm not mad at moving her to C.
yeah, because like as far as like Juryoku goes, like as far as
Yeah.
like reverse
Yeah,
like,
I'm not mad
reverse curse
either.
technique. Yeah, like that's too big for the understanding of the verse or the mythos. You know what I mean? To put her in D. You know what I mean? She's too important to the energy system, I feel like. You know what I mean? Okay, so we're cool with her in C. Or do we right?
Yeah,
Let's
I
do
ain't
it.
tripping.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Big Choso. Where Mike at? Hold on. We on Big Choso, baby. Hold on, man.
Put my guy.
Hold on,
I'm gonna
man.
hit
Where we got Choso at?
Put my guy in A.
Yeah, I think.
A.
Yeah, I think A. Where does everybody else have him at?
I got him at B.
Oh, you got him at B.
I got him at B.
Okay. Let's hear this. Let's hear the B. Let's hear the B stuff.
I mean, only reason I have Choso at B is just because he not like. I think what elevates Choso is the cool factor. He's strong. He's extremely interesting being a death pain wound.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He be wearing the Fire's boots. I never seen in my fucking life.
Doc
you know
Martens, fleeky.
You know what I'm saying? The bitch is hard.
The bitch is fly,
You know what I'm saying?
Swear to God.
Oh, it's fly.
Let my dog fly for real.
Bro
But
got
he gotta like
the little two ponytail.
And he
joints.
Facts.
rocking it. I never even thought
He
I'd
going
like that on a
crazy,
character.
bro, like-
Motherfuckers
Choso
floating
got
with those
finesse.
Going
buns.
crazy, like.
Choso has
on.
straight finesse. Like I vibe with Choso heavy. But like I said, since like I feel like how Ronan kind of said earlier, it was C and then the B kind of was high. It's like that for me too. But then to get to the A, you kind of gotta like get there. And I
Yeah.
don't think Choso really has done that yet. I
Okay.
think that potential is coming up. It's cooking, but I think he's like right there.
One
Okay.
minor thing I would say to put him up to A, right, is that he is one of the keys to our understanding of Yuji's latent ability, right?
Yes.
Like, so that there, like, bumps
Yeah,
him
that's why I
up for
put
me
him
in
at
terms
A.
of the storytelling mechanism sense.
Facts.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
Nick.
I
I
agree. I put
100%
him in
agree.
A for the exact same reason because I had him in B at 1st, but then I was just like, man, though, like everything that's going on with him and you know, when he signed, you know what I'm saying, Big Choso and this big brother shit, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
been like really opening my thought processes on Yuji and you know his abilities a lot, like so I pushed him to A because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ronan?
For me,
Yeah.
yeah, for me, it's kind of like I definitely understand why you guys would put him in A. He got that cool factor. His character design's fire.
Yes.
He's a death painting womb, so he has a lot of potential narratively. My thing personally is, you know, this is perfectly like this is not to discredit like ranking them off of potential because that does play a factor into some of the character ranking that I have later on. But I try not to rank that so high in my personal ranking because I don't like because Gege has thrown me for a loop countless times.
Yes.
So I don't like putting my eggs in that basket of, oh, they're gonna do this or they're gonna do that. I like to go based off of, if possible, what they've done at like or what's kind of the most logical next step. So for me, Choso is just he put the hands on Yuji, fire,
Yes.
and he's really cool. I think his character interactions are really interesting. The possibility of clans I think are interesting, which has him in B for me. I just can't use that potential to get him up to A for me personally.
Yeah.
No shade, whatever. I do understand
sure.
it. I just don't personally agree with the with him A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to front. Ronan, bro, before this stream, a lot of my tier placements were based on things that you have completely just factored out of your reasoning. And it's not like I'm not like
Yeah.
upset with that or anything like that. It's honestly very cool and like eye-opening that these opinions that I felt so strongly about going into this can be changed so easily, which is something that I wasn't expecting. And you and Dancho's reasoning on a couple of these picks so that I really was very confident and strong about, you know, my idea and my placement for some characters. You guys have really knocked it out of the park on different reasoning for. Choso is one of those examples. I think I'm totally cool with him in B just based off of what Ronan just said. I love that. Yeah.
I'm voting B still.
Okay.
I'm cool with B. B's fine with me.
We're cool with B?
Yeah, I'm cool.
All right, cool. Choso goes B. I liked that a lot. Because a lot of these characters I placed for cool factor. Ronan shuts the cool factor point down like so quickly in the conversation and just made me go like, damn, that's right. Like you like I
Right.
do need to chill on the cool factor stuff a little bit. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Maki Zenin.
A.
Oh yeah, this is a very easy A for me.
Yeah, put Maki in A.
A.
I put her in B, but I could see A for sure.
Where do you got her, Ronan?
I put her in B, definitely can see A. It's kind of like with the, I think it's just the threshold I have for A is like, is like crazy. Like I don't like okay, so like my thing is I don't think she's a Nobara or Geto in terms of her character writing.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
And that's why I find it hard for me to get her into that A tier.
Yes.
Right. Like
Yes.
I find no problem with her being an A just like on its own, because I do think she's an A tier character like in a vacuum. But I think with the criteria I have of like comparing her to other characters in Giga Akutami's arsenal, I just think that Maki is really well executed. Just like someone like Geto or Nobara who has such focus when you don't have as much screen time, like as a character developing you and fleshing you out and things like that.
As far as Maki goes, like my philosophy on Maki is I looked a little bit outside of the series for my reasoning on Maki just because of like what she means to shonen. Because like as far as my perception of Maki, it's like, okay, so Kishimoto establishes you're cold-blooded in a world without powers that like relies on powers. You know what I mean? Like Rock Lee was really like the first character that really drove that point home in a massive way. And since then, we've seen characters like Asta, Maki, you know, you can go down the line and count them. But Maki is a female character in this position, which I personally have never seen before, so points for that. 2, she has aspirations to take over the clan that she belongs to, which is something that you also don't really see in female characters, I feel like. So just like Gege's ability to look at established tropes and find really cool ways to spin them that we aren't expecting amplifies Maki's character so much for me, to the point where like it doesn't feel right for her to be in anything but A. And this isn't even talking about like I haven't even gotten into her specific character writing yet. You know what I mean? So like I can't have her lower than an A. Personally.
For me, like she just amplifies something within Jujutsu Kaisen for me, and that is the prejudice that's in it for those in the Zenny clan that are less than, are deemed as less than. And I feel like Toji's character as well speaks for that, you know, narrative. And I think that that's something that I'm hoping, and you know, this goes into like future stuff past Shibuya, but something I hope for Megami. And that's a whole nother conversation with him becoming the head of the Zenny, but and Toji's plan. But it's just Gege's introduces so many different things within this manga, and I spoke about this a little bit earlier with the bar situation. And I feel like there's definitely within the Jujutsu world, there's definitely some prejudice for those that lack, you know, cursed energy, or those that have are deemed less than because their abilities aren't of a certain tier. And that's what the Zenin is all about, right? Strength. That's all they care about. And I think Maki is a good representation trying to become the head of the Zenin of that. And for that reason, like, not even, again, what Nas said, not even speaking about like all of her character writing, but for that reason, like I pushed her to A. And it's tough. And it's like, I know like what Ronan was mentioning, comparing these characters to other A tier characters, like I get that, but I definitely feel like you can be in A tier and still be a lower A than someone else.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
it's possible to be an A tier character, and you don't have to necessarily be on the same level as Nobara or Geto or something like that.
Yeah,
so for me, I just feel like putting her B. For me personally, I just can't see it.
And if we had all the time in the world, we could rearrange characters inside of their tiers. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Closest to the letter is the highest, farthest away is the lowest. We could do it like that too if we had infinite time, but I mean,
so not today, but yeah, we could do that for sure.
So we're gonna put Maki to a vote. I think that's all the reasoning, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I got Maki in A.
A.
A's fine with me.
Okay. Maki goes in A.
I got her in B, but obviously you guys got it.
For sure. Okay, moving on to Jogo. I think this is the first like tried and true curse on the list, right? So big Jogo hours. How do we feel about Jogo? I personally have him in A.
Yeah, I put my man Jogo in A, man. First off, I just want to say this real quick, yo, about my man Jogo, bro. One of the most like inconveniently like placed characters, bro. Like every time this man has to fight, it's against somebody that is
cold, too cold.
Nigga.
Yeah,
every time, bro. And it's like I feel bad for him. Like, so, like Gojo at the time of fighting Jogo in the beginning, like said, like, yo, this dude right now is like at the same level as current Sukuna. Like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
that like, but he has to fight these people that are just over him every time.
Yeah, but you get
So
little lines of dialogue here and there that just
I just be
amplify
feeling-
Jogo's character.
I just be feeling bad about it, but
Yeah,
Jogo
yeah.
be putting that work in, bro, for the story. Like
Yeah.
I just, man, like that's my guy, bro. I fuck with
feel
Jogo heavy.
Jogo is someone who I have historically talked copious amounts of shit about as a character, and Gege totally like threw me for a loop. Like Gege is so good at the look over here, you know what I mean, while I do something over here, you know what I mean. And with Jogo's character, I felt that a lot because I saw him as, you know, the shit talking bad guy that's gonna get folded right away. You know what I mean? Like that's what his character felt like to me at first. It wasn't until a reread, and I noticed this the first time going through it, but I just had Jogo's archetype etched into my mind that he was a bitch and that he didn't matter. And it wasn't until a reread that I went back through and saw his scene inside of the restaurant with Ghetto, and he laid out the entire motivation of the Curse family inside of his character. Like him first was the first one to talk about these characters' motivations, and that motivation being fleshed out the way that it did, as far as his line of dialogue in that restaurant when he's like, all right, look, humans are lying like a motherfucker, bro. Curses don't have two sides to our emotions. You know what I'm saying? Whenever humans are happy, supportive, encouraging, there's always a flip side of that. Jealousy, anger, whatever that they're not showing you. So humans are on bullshit. Curses, we wear our heart on our sleeves and we live true to ourselves at every moment. We should be the apex predators of this reality. Let's take this shit over. I was like, oh my god. I thought villain motivations inside of shonen had gotten so boring. You know what I mean? Until Jujutsu Kaisen, and Jogo was the character that introduced us to that philosophy. You know what I mean?
He was like the perfect depiction of the curses, bro.
Yeah,
like,
for real.
He's like the poster child of the curses, bro. Like for me, bro. Like, and Shibuya just pushed them further. I think before Shibuya, someone in the chat brought up a good point. Before Shibuya, I might have had him at like a B.
Yeah.
But I feel like the stuff in Shibuya to me pushed him to A, man. Like,
Easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so reasoning for B though.
Oh, I had him at B just because he just didn't feel like on the same level as the A characters I had given. So like, I had Jogo at an A because I just like Jogo, but then I was like, I'm gonna bring you down to a B just because it was like, as much as I loved him in Shibuya and I loved his moments and I love his importance, I think he just was more like a for the moment character.
Yeah.
So I don't really know if I like can give him the A where I feel like, okay, not only were you here for the moment, you're here for the long run type of deal, even an impact. Like I don't see Jogo appearing later in the manga as a mental impact on another character. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
and
like
Jogo didn't even reach A for me until his fight with Sukuna. You know what I mean? Like I reread the series before he fought Sukuna, and his character was enhanced through rereads. But like it wasn't until that scene in that white space where that humanizing ass scene where Sukuna acknowledges him, he starts crying. That's what really put him in A tier for me.
Yep, 100%.
You know what I mean, was
understandable
because you just don't see humanization. You don't see development. You don't see progression all that often inside of monstrous antagonists.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Human looking antagonists, absolutely. They get all the pathos. They get all the whatever you need to do to sympathize with them. But like monsters get fucking slept and then they get stepped over. You know what I mean? Jogo, Hanami, Dagon, they felt like people to me by the end of Shibuya Incident. And it's because of that fight with Sukuna that puts Jogo in A for me. And I can't come down from that personally. Yeah. And he killed. Oh, I can't even say that. I can't even say that as a part of his character, but
right.
Yeah,
but he's out here smoking cats.
Clean, bro.
Yeah.
And he was like, "That's one." Boom. I was like,
"That's two."
Yeah.
Boom. That's three. I was like, "Wait a minute, he hit the hat trick." Jogo was not playing the whole time. Who'da thunk it?
One of my favorite scenes is where we actually like see the flaw and like, because like I personally put him in B, but I have no problem hyping.
You have hold on. You put him in B, but hold on, Ronan. You have him in B, but you kind of cut out for a sec. You have him in B, but you have no problem. What?
oh, I just have no problem hyping him up, right?
Sure.
Like I think he's a great character. He's actually a personal favorite. I just don't think he's one of the best written, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool. And I understand, and I'm starting to have a really good understanding of your A qualifications. So this makes perfect sense that you'd have him in B.
We go with A though.
One of his
I'm good with
best
that.
moments.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Ronan. Yeah.
I was just gonna say one of his best moments for me was where like Sukuna is like, you got caught up in being a human. You got caught up in comparing yourself to others. He's like, when you should have just tried to grow yourself and like burn everything else down without hesitation.
Yeah.
And you notice that is a central idea, that the people that are the strongest are completely selfish and like Mahito, for example. We'll get into him, I feel later, but like Mahito is a character who selfishly wants to grow, and we see that as a result of his power growing and evolving. Gojo obviously is an example of this, and Sukuna literally has a statement of nothing but his own desires matter to him. Like I feel like it's pretty, he wears out on his sleeve that he's a selfish character, and I think that Sukuna being like, you know, you messed up, but you are strong, right?
Yes.
And Jogo kind of just being in the moment in kind of like deriving true human happiness from that, I think really is a nice like send off for his character. It was just great.
The fact that Gege gives a character like Jogo a character trait of insecurity is like so different. You know what I mean? Like you got scraped by Gojo and you never came back from that. You know what I mean? You could have done a lot better here if you just didn't think, because as soon as he says it, he was like, don't you want to open up your domain? And he was like, I'll lose in a domain battle. He's like, that's because fucking Gojo whooped you. You know what I'm saying? You should have just expanded right away and saw what happened. You know what I mean? But Gojo hit you with that infinite void and you don't know how to act now. All right, bye. Arrowed his ass and he's out of here. And like that,
That's why I said it was just inconvenient for that man. Like, that's just like, damn, bro. Like the potential there for sure. Like even the other characters see it, but it's just like that motherfucker just had to go against that guy like early on. Like, so.
Hell yeah. Okay, well let's get to the placement. So Jogo, where we got him?
I still say A, man.
I'm putting him A.
A.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Majority says A. Jogo goes in A. Moving on to Big Toto. Okay, we're box set. Okay.
Toto is who I have in S. My first.
You have Toto in S. I love Toto in S.
Best character.
Even though Toto is not
S.
in my S, I am so ready to hear the S reasoning.
Dude, when he showed up in Shibuya Incident, everyone was like, Toto!
Yes. Now you can count like the biggest hype drivers in the series on one hand. Yeah. Toto appearing in Shibuya is probably number one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Like that moment, because I just felt the despair in Yuji.
Mm-hmm.
And Toto shows up and shows Yuji what being a Jujutsu sorcerer means.
Delivers that brilliant soliloquy. That monologue was everything. That is still, because of that, in my opinion, the best chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Because I'm just thinking about how other characters, for this S, I put him in S, and for this, I judged it based on something a little bit different, I guess, for some of my other picks, and it's how he impacted Yuji, someone that's so pivotal to the story, the protagonist of the story.
Arguably Yuji's best teacher.
Toto, in a lot of ways, is a better sensei for Yuji than Gojo.
That's what I was just about to go into.
And not saying that he's a better teacher than Gojo in general, but I just mean for Yuji.
Yeah.
He helped Yuji develop so much. And like him showing up in Shibuya, yes, it was hype, but it also played a perfect role, which led into their combination of teamwork against Mahito, which is like one of my favorite fights in the series as well. And it's just like, Toto is an amazing character. Other than just being just cool. He's cool. He's a cool character. He's funny. Got the funny kind of girls that you into, like all that shit. Like that's besides the point. Guess that goes into it, but that Shibuya, like Toto was just so pivotal in Shibuya for me and Yuji's growth. And for him to influence the protagonist in that way, like,
right,
I put him as.
He influenced the fucking antagonist too. Even Mahito was like, "What is this man on?"
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And like that's a big deal. And like Toto, I would say I would agree with you, Sin. For Yuji specifically, Todo has been Yuji's best mentor. Of Nanami, Gojo, and Todo, I think that Todo wins there. As far as his hype, I already said, I agree that he has the #1 most hype moment in the series. As far as his thematic and narrative impact, we learned a lot about cursed energy through Todo's character. Obviously, his ability is amazing to watch, but the biggest thing for Todo is that I love when an author can characterize, an individual in a way that makes me hate them to their core, and then drastically 180 degree my perception of that character in a chapter or a couple chapters. You know what I mean? Like, I was not ready to fall head over heels in love with Todo's character after his initial characterization. I was like, fuck this dude. I appreciate the delinquent macho dude. Like, he should have had a pompadour. He could have had one and it would have made total sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Knox,
I
you
love
know
that
how I feel about the delinquent trope.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like, that is like me, bro. Yusuke, Kuwabara, fucking Knuckles.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Tokyo Revengers, Crows, all that shit is my
That's
shit.
my thing, bro. Yeah. So, like, Todo off rip. And you were there when I was reading it.
Mm-hmm.
When I met this dude and he bodies Megumi off rip, I'm like, this nigga is that nigga. Like,
I saw that and I was like, fuck him. I love Megumi right now. How dare you?
You feel me? I love Megumi too. I love Megumi. I love Megumi to death. But that's just my type of character. So I was already drawn to him. Mm-hmm. But then when we see the change in him, we see that he's not just that.
Yeah.
That he has compassion too. Yeah. And he has a soft side as well.
Yeah.
And like, man, it's just hard.
Todo is an anomaly of a character to me. Dude.
I love him. If we put Todo in A, bro, then he's clear like mad people in A, bro.
We'll put him at the head of
a lot of niggas in A, bro. Like,
yeah. See, I strongly believe Todo deserves A, or should be an A. Rather, I think he deserves S, but I personally think that he should be an A. I won't argue with an S tier majority vote. You know what I mean?
Well, Ronan, what do you got, Ronan?
Yeah.
So, okay, let me preface this with saying I have him in A now. Initially, because Todo was a character that I love. Like, I just love seeing on screen. Mm-hmm. Like, in terms of enjoyment, he's like S plus whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But initially, I kind of resorted to putting him in B. I was like, oh, he doesn't have that much depth. And then as I heard you guys talk, I was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
let me, because like these are things like I've read and I've comprehended, but you can't think about every character as in depth as you'd want to.
Yeah.
Right. Until it's brought to your mind. And then I was like, oh shit, I think Todo was like a great character.
That's my thing, bro. Like, I'm not gonna say like I'm like, when I'm passionate about somebody, is like I feel like I bring something different for those characters that I'm passionate about. And I think me liking that kind of character so much, I just fixated so much on his character and like just overanalyze them in comparison to others.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's why like I sound so passionate about him. It's not like I'm saying I'm not trying to dick ride a nigga, nothing pause, but
yeah,
like I fuck with him. Like, so it's like that's why I'm speaking so passionately about his character.
Yeah, for sure.
And the other character
feel that
who
passion for it.
Oh, I was gonna say the other character that is a potential Yuji's latent ability, another target, right? So
yes,
like another
key,
person
like
who
you said with Choso.
Key magic system, access character. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ronan, you were about to say something?
I was just gonna say, when you can feel the passion from someone like talking about a character like that like that's a little bit more emotional than logical, but like I really do know you have a good character when you can get behind them and not just say they're good, but like give a reason why. So for me, I say he's A, and the simple reason is because I don't think it's because there can only be 3 S's, if I'm being honest. Like initially put him in B,
right.
as we're talking about him, I'm like, okay, this is an S tier character. I just don't know if I can move these other characters out of the way. Like that.
Yes.
That's literally all it is. Like for me, Todo is. I can't say he's sweeping A. Hold on, but he's top.
I think he sweeps
top,
A, dude. Like I think he sweeps
definitely.
A besides Nobara.
It's
hard. I mean,
I hate my A tier, but
I personally would probably say emotionally that Todo is ahead of Nobara, but Nobara just represents, I don't know, just so.
It depends
much.
on what you favor.
I ain't gonna say
think.
like that's why I say that I think he clears mad niggas. Like I ain't saying everyone, but it's a lot of people underneath Todo, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
like
for
sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's put this to a vote then. Toto.
I'm still saying S, but
Toto and S for Sin.
S.
Toto and S for Nick. Oh yeah, you started out with S. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yep. Okay. And then Ronan.
A.
A. I'm sticking with A. Sorry, box. Doncho, it's
A.
on you.
I got A.
You got A?
I got A.
Oh shit,
Oh.
box
That's
in
fine,
the
that's fine.
mud.
that's what I
That's
was
only
heard,
fair.
bro. I knew that we was losing, but I wasn't switching up. You feel me? I'm
Yeah,
not
for
switching
sure.
up.
To make it
that's-
known,
yeah.
Toto
That's my
best.
guy, bro.
Yeah,
That's my
absolutely.
guy.
Wow.
Everybody here in the chat know that.
Full respect if you got Toto and S, by the way.
Oh my
'cause
god. See, this is one of the hardest placements for me because it's like 3 characters is all we get
Yeah.
in S.
Yeah,
you know what I
right.
mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep it going. Next up, we got Big Nanami, the Chad, big body, big chest, striations, swole ass Nanami. You know what I'm
Hey.
saying?
Still with the hot take, bro.
All right. Where do we
I'm
got him? We
cool
got
with
him in A.
A.
Cool with A.
Is that a unanimous?
Yes.
I got him
it has
A,
to
too.
be. There's
All right.
no other
Bro,
option.
wait, no one got
Honestly,
him
this
in
is
S?
a
I'm
man that
surprised.
needs
No,
no
I
words.
put Nanami in S, but I'm cool with A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense because I feel like Nanami's like one of those characters that like you just look at, you read, and you're just like, okay, yeah, you do your shit, like you handle it, bro.
He was
Like,
born
you
A.
got it. Yeah, you
He
got
was
it,
born
bro.
A
Like,
tier, bro.
once
in the
again,
series.
like it.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes down to my personal preference on what a character does, but like kind of just like with Toto, like bro, you got him in S. Like literally, I agree with you. Like
Yeah,
I just
for real.
can't have. He's just not my top 3. Like
Right,
I
right.
literally
I
agree
feel
with
that.
you. He's just.
That's what
not
I'm
my top 3.
saying. Like for me in the S tier, bro, it's like I really found myself, and I hate to do this, but it's just like it's hard. We're human beings. It's hard not to have bias, bro. Like
Right.
I found myself saying, Knox, you seen my original list.
I
had
glanced
like
at
six.
it. Yeah.
I had like 6 niggas in S.
You
bro,
had like
and,
9
'cause
people in S.
I had like 6 niggas in S, but I didn't understand that we only have 3
Yeah.
when I first did it.
Yeah.
So it ended up just me being like, I'm just gonna pick my favorite out of these.
Right.
That's really what it boiled down to. Like
That's fine.
Perfectly fair.
That is totally fine, bro. Absolutely. So Nanami, I think is a very obvious A. I think that's majority too. I don't think he needs too much talk. This is a very well understood, like A to S tier character in the series. So you already know what the deal is. Let's move on to Ijichi for the sake of time. How do we feel about Ijichi?
This is Glasses guy, right?
Yeah, this is Glasses,
Yeah.
bro.
That's
and
like
he's
niggas that was-
essentially the
that's
narrator
bro
of the
that was-
anime.
that's bro that was
C.
driving
Yeah.
in the car with
Yep,
Dojo before
yep,
the
yep,
Dojo fight.
yep.
C.
He's the
I put
motherfucker that
bro-
rolls with everybody, but never was like a soldier. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I put bro in C just because he just around. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been there since the prequel. You know what I'm
around,
saying? Like
like-
he's been interwoven in the story throughout. He's probably one of the characters with some of the most screen time. You know, probably in the top fucking 10% of screen time.
Just because
you
he
know what I
shows up
mean?
in
So-
small moments, yeah.
Right, exactly. So I mean, I'm cool. Like I have him in C. Like we can throw him in C. We can just throw him in
I
C
put
to keep
him
it
in
pushing.
C.
that's
I feel like it ain't even much
Yeah.
to talk about.
Yeah, there ain't
Yeah,
nothing to
it's
talk
good.
about. All right,
Yeah.
Ijichi and C. Let's move on to younger Kamo.
D.
Woo, D.
Kyoto School sucks.
Kamo.
Oh
Besides,
shit.
besides Toto. And
Yo.
Yikes.
Interesting.
I got him in C.
have him
I got
at
him in C.
C.
I would love to
Yeah,
I
hear
got him at
D.
C.
I would love to hear D reasoning.
What is his ability is like shoot arrows, they got blood in them. Like I'm just like I'm so salty about I'm not as powerful as Megumi and I never will be. I
No,
mean, like,
no, because Megumi said he was holding back in their fight when he finally turned
holding
up
back or
against
not, he would never
Hanami.
win anyway. It doesn't matter.
Because he got
And of
Maharaga
course,
on
it's
chill.
not power, but he's so minor as a character in terms of the story. He's
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll put bro in C.
I have him in
In my
C too,
opinion.
but I'm totally down to put him in D after Nick's
yeah.
words here.
Whichever one.
Yeah.
I don't care. We can just vote.
Bro-
All right, let's put it to a vote. Let's put it to a vote right now. What we got?
I'm gonna say C.
All right, we got Sin
I'm
on
a-
C.
I'm gonna go C.
All right, we
Ronan,
got
what do you
Doncho
got?
on C.
I got C.
All
C
right,
is fine. I'm
All
fine with C.
Kamo goes to C. There you go, Kamo fans. He's not D. All right, now we got Mahito, arguably the best villain in Jujutsu Kaisen. Arguably,
Man.
I don't know
put-
necessarily if I'd agree or
I
not.
put bro in A.
I think this is a very easy A placement.
Say,
Obviously,
who,
now
sorry?
people can put Mahito in
Mahito.
S. I will
Oh.
not disagree or argue with an S tier placement. Throw the reasoning out, and I'm with you. But right now, this was a very easy. I didn't even.
I
Think
just
about
want
it.
to say this because I'm a man that stands on my words. You feel me? I said this in the chat earlier. I'm not a huge fan of Mahito. Now, let me clarify.
Sure.
I respect the writing. I respect how important of a character he is. I just don't personally vibe with him too much. Like, as I was reading, I never got the same feelings for him as I did for Ghetto.
Sure.
I was like, he's important. He's written very well. Like, I can't. It's like one of those things where it's just like, you ever had a series like you like, yo, I know this is like, I respect it being in the GOAT status, but I don't really fuck with it too much.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel about him. Like,
Sure.
Yep.
but I definitely think he's an A character though. Like, I can't say he's not.
Right. Absolutely. I like
Also an A,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And okay, so wait, A for me, A for Sin, A for Nick. Where do you
A for
have him,
Doncho.
Doncho? Doncho, you have him in
Yep.
A. Ronan, where do you have him?
I got him in S. I have a weird perspective on Mahito
Sure.
because like I hate him like
Yeah.
personality wise. Like I like bro,
Yeah,
like I
bro,
will
like-
I will square up with him like if I had the ability to.
Right.
Smack the shit out of him.
Yeah, but it's just like I don't know, like it's kind of like this weird relationship where like I hate him, like it's like almost like he's so villainous. I feel like it has a kind of charisma to it, if it makes sense.
Right.
And I feel like he is the perfect villain for Yuji.
Yes.
Like I feel like there could not have been someone
Yes.
with a better perspective on death and kind of just like whereas Mahito put it really well. Whereas Yuji saves humans without thinking, Mahito kills humans without
Yes,
thinking.
bro. Oh my
But-
God. That was
And that's just-
everything.
And
I
was
love
like,
that,
wow.
Ronin, bro. I love that, bro. Mahito, like, depicting, like, and he even went into, like, the whole killing thing went into Yuji's character, too, and I love
Yes.
that, bro.
Yes.
Like, Yuji
Yeah.
having to kill for the first time, like, yo, I fuck with your reasonings for that, though.
Well, I had
Yeah.
Mahito in S to start, and then I thought about this, and I was like, one of these villains need to be in S in this story because of how important Gege's villainous villainous or antagonistic character writing is. You know what I mean? It's so strong, and Mahito is the in-your-face villain. Obviously, we know things about Brain Ghetto that kind of change the perspective on who the real villain in the series is. But like, if I'm looking at it and I have Mahito in S, and I go, he has to be here for all of the reasons that my entire philosophy on this list says that he should be here in S. But then obviously the context that we get with Brain, Noritoshi, Ghetto, it changes things drastically, you know, for me. But I understand that Mahito has had all of the development. He's had all of the progression. He's had all of the screen time. He's done the most things. And he's been beautifully written the entire time. So with that, S tier arguments, I won't do any. Like, I won't do, like, if it comes to, like, I have him in A. If majority says S, like, there's no arguments for me there. But like, personally, I have to put Brain above Ghetto just for narrative impact and the entire like situation around the reveal. He's had multiple reveals that shook the community. You know what I'm saying? And Mahito shook the community plenty of times in the in-your-face aspect. You know what I mean? But that drop at the end of Shibuya was too much, and I had to take Mahito out of S and replace him with Ghetto. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that all? Is that all? Everything everyone spoke on Mahito, right? No. Doncho, you
Yeah, I
didn't
mean,
speak on Mahito.
Yeah, Nacho
I
ain't
mean,
get
you
it.
pretty
Yeah.
covered. Like, I don't even know what to add.
Sure.
Like, you pretty much covered it. Like,
Should we put it to a
I
vote
think-
then?
Yeah, go ahead. We can. Like, you know.
Okay. Okay. So I have Mahito in A.
A.
Put him in
A.
All right, that's 4 for A. I'm
yeah.
fucking with you though, Ronan.
I very much
I'm
respect that.
fucking.
Right.
I
Your
promise
reasons.
you, I'm fucking with you,
Yeah.
bro.
Ronan, to make you feel better, Mahito was one of my S's. I had to go, damn it. Like, you know. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
nah, I understand.
Yeah.
It's just a space thing at this point, if
Yeah.
I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
just
bro.
like
It's gonna be like that for a couple characters.
I
man.
know, man. Okay.
That shit tough.
All right, moving on to Anami. Right? So we have Hanami here. This is the first curse from the curse family that we saw box
Yes.
important characters besides Gojo, right?
Facts.
And Hanami had one hell of a showing.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely respect his, like, I know this has nothing to do with strength, but I respect his strength a lot.
Yes.
For
yes.
sure.
And
I put him in a
Hanami
B.
is a character where our entire conversation, like 80% can revolve around strength feats for Hanami.
Yeah, he be
their-
boxing, bro.
Yeah, their performance inside of
fact.
combat is like I want to say like 80% of Hanami's character. Obviously, we can go, into more thematic stuff and, more, poetic and deeper, profound stuff for Hanami's character too, which is totally fine. But just off of Hanami's aesthetic, narrative impact, personality, and dialogue, this is a very easy A for me. I honestly think that the entire Curse family should be an A tier personally, but at least A tier. But
I got bro in B, but like low key, like I'm not mad with A either, but I got him in
Sure.
B.
where do you got him,
Don
Ronan?
Ronan?
I have him in D too, son.
You have him in B?
D.
D?
Oh nah, I put him
Yeah.
in B. I
You
said-
put him
yeah,
in D, Doncho?
I have him in D. Yeah, I have him in
Woo!
D.
Okay,
Oh.
Ronan,
I
where you
thought
got him?
Damn.
I thought I had the lowest ranking. I had him in C. I had him in C
Okay.
because the main reason, just real quick, because it's not that crazy. I just
Sure.
think what Jogo does, Hanami does as well, but just not as like
That's fair.
personal.
Yep.
Sure.
And that's just the main thing for me. I feel like I don't like watering down characters just as being clone of this, but I do think what Hanami stands for as a curse is just a less well executed version of Jogo, which is why I can't put him too high for me personally.
Yep. I agree with that for sure.
As far as Hanami versus Jogo goes, when you go into, at least when I go into how I look at Gege's writing, it was a big hit for me. And this happened in conversation in our reviews, actually, on camera when we were reviewing a chapter. Kiko had brought up, I think it was Kiko, he had said something about how Akutami wrote the personalities of the curses into their elemental affinity, right? So you have Jogo, who's obviously a hothead. You have Hanami, who's like, chill, bro, it's all good. He's kind of like Saint Walker from the Blue Lantern Corps, if you read Green Lantern. He's just like chill. He's like the dude from Big Lebowski, you know what I mean? And then you have Dagon, who, his emotions kind of ebb and flow like waves, you know what I mean? Like the waves crash, and then you get Cthulhu Dagon. The flow, the waves are cool. You get, Chibi, cute Dagon, you know what I'm saying? So like just the fact that like the dialogue of the character interactions outside of combat, inside of the Curse family, really, after the conversation that we had on the podcast, when I go back and look through it, it's like, wow, these are the perfect characters for their roles. You know what I mean? And Hanami representing Earth, you know what I mean? And nature. And I'm like really big, like emotionally on the side of the planet environmentally. So like
Yeah.
I resonate with Hanami a great deal, outlook wise, you know what I mean? So I have him in A. A B tier placement won't make me upset, but I can't put him in C.
So voting versus, like, should we do B versus C?
I am down for
Voting?
B versus
I'm
C.
fine with that.
I am down for B. Okay, let's do it. Who's for B?
B.
I'm down for B too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 3 for B.
All right, B.
All right, B it is.
Fair enough.
Anami goes to B. Let's move on to Miwa. First Shinkage Ryu style user
D.
that we've seen
Yeah, I think
in the
D
show.
and D.
I'm cool with D. I had her in C because of the anime and rereads and the Mekamaru conclusion to her character, or to his character arc, including Miwa, hit really hard for me in a way that put her a little bit higher up. But I'm totally cool with D. Where does everybody else have her?
I had her in C, but I can put her in D. I'm cool with it.
I had her in cheeks, but I let her go.
Whenever I hear Doncho's cheeks placements, my heart skips a beat.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Ronan, what do you got?
I got her in D. I think the reason I don't have her in cheeks, I just like she's just a likable person.
I love
think-
female swordsmen. Period.
Yeah.
Like that automatically keeps
I ain't
her
gonna
out
hold
of
you. She was
cheeks
one of
to
them
me.
characters, bro. I forgot about, bro.
And
Like-
and when you're like Bato Jutsu, like Iaido, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Bro,
Bro,
Jutsu
yes.
type characters, like you
I love-
cannot be in cheeks. Period. Just off your design, like and
I love Miwa.
characterization.
I just feel like she just don't do nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
So I be like, you cheeks.
So
are
we
you
go
cool?
with
Are
D,
you
or
are
we
you
wanna
cool
do-
with D, Doncho?
I'm fine with D. Yeah.
Are we cool with just throwing Miwa in D?
Let's do it.
Just we don't
I
really
think
need to
that's
talk too
cool.
much about
Yeah.
Miwa. Now Miguel, as far as Miguel goes, obviously he has all of his relevance inside of the hidden inventory flashback, and then a little bit later on thereafter when we see him in Africa with Yuta or whatever. But I personally put characters that I think that now Doncho has his D characters as you just haven't shown that you're cheeks yet, so we're putting you in D, which is amazing. My D tier is really just left for people who I feel like haven't shown us everything that they can do, and we know that Gege can very easily just drop a chapter that enhances our perception on any of these characters 100-fold. So because of that, this is an entirely potential pick. I put Miguel in D.
I have
just because-
cheeks only because he's done like nothing essentially,
exactly.
but he's not been used yet, right?
Right,
So it's like
exactly.
it's. But yeah, D cheeks, whatever, it's fine.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. How does everybody else feel about Miguel?
Hold on. I'm trying to remind myself real quick.
Right. So Miguel was
I
the
got
one
it.
that tried to run up on Gojo in hidden inventory, and then he fucking
okay.
fainted
Got
the
you.
red or whatever. Where he said it didn't work or whatever he said or whatever is that.
Okay,
scene.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I just think it's like where'd I
Yeah, where you got him.
I put D because like it's not that like they're a bad so for me D is like I like you but you haven't done anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Me too.
Cheeks is like, yeah. Cheeks is like for
You
me
suck.
it's just like you literally you either suck or like you just don't have any personality to me, right? So for me like Miguel had a fight, but like I don't resonate with him, nor do I think he has any narrative importance or themes pushing. So I put him in Cheeks personally. Not that I like hate him, because some characters in Cheeks I do hate.
Sure.
It's just I'm like a perfect neutral on him. Like I have no feelings towards him whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm cool.
That's fair, very
so,
fair.
So like, is everybody cool with D just for the sake of time?
Yep.
Miguel and D. All right, Miguel goes to D. Next, I believe this lady's name is Misato. I don't know. She's a part of. I think she's unnamed actually. I think Misato is another character inside of Geto's original group, but this chick was from the prequel, I think.
Yeah, if we have to question her name, she's in Cheeks for me because I'm
Let's go
like, who is
Cheeks.
this? I don't know who this
Yeah,
is.
let's
The
go
pretty
Cheeks
one?
just because we know, like, the pretty one with the
Cheeks.
Yeah, let's go Cheeks. I'm totally down with, just for the sake of time. We don't know nothing about this chick, Dag.
Yeah.
Y'all cool with Cheeks?
Okay, yeah.
All right,
Pretty
cool.
much.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, next we
I
got
know.
Momo. How do we feel about Momo?
D.
I have her
I
in
got Momo
Let
and
me see.
Cheeks.
I had Momo in C according to my original list, and the only reason why I have Momo in C is because she was one half of that drastic
no bar.
scene
That's why
that
too.
established the entire female character landscape in Jujutsu
Yeah, but
Kaisen.
if this is more so, like, I did that for a couple characters. Like I did it for mine too. Like, but if we going like y'all seem to be going more towards them as standalone. Like I D or Cheeks for sure.
Okay.
Like,
I'm cool with the D placement for Momo. I legitimately feel like she should not be in Cheeks, especially
Yeah, I
with
don't wanna put her
her
in
performance
Cheeks, but-
inside of the Shibuya incident. Even though she didn't really do anything too major, she was still in the mix of action, laying her life on the line. So however we felt about her in the Exchange Festival, I feel like changes drastically as soon as she pulls up to Shibuya. So like I personally can't put her in Cheeks. I have to, like, I can't put her lower than a D. Obviously majority decides, but that's just my idea on it.
I
I'm fine
have
with
her
D.
in D tier as well.
Okay. You guys cool with
Sounds
the
like
D
D
tier
then.
placement for Momo?
Fine with D.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, here is my first S tier placement inside of Brain Kun Ghetto. And the reason why I have Ghetto in S is because of he's had multiple reveals inside of his character as a villain, and this is after him as a character inside of Teen Suguru Ghetto. And I'm not trying to include Teen Ghetto in the placement for Brain Kun,
Right.
but as far as like the reveal, the Aizen-esque reveal that we get at the end of Shibuya Incident, I personally feel like this angle or this avenue in storytelling is trite, but this execution was crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy how there's 2 stories in Weekly Shonen Jump ongoing right now that did this plot point in such a beautiful way in completely different ways. Undead Unluck did it with their, you know, inside of their story too. But like, I just thought that I was done seeing this twist. You know what I mean? Like, I thought like if I ever saw this twist again, I would be like, fuck you. But Ghetto's reveal was everything to me. You know what I mean? And I love like shady backdoor dealer type characters who are very confident when things are going wrong, very stoic otherwise. You know they have something up their sleeve at all times. And I feel like Brain Ghetto personifies that in a way that just feels perfect to me, on top of the reveal being executed so well. And when you have a front runner antagonist like Mahito doing all of these things in the foreground, it makes the reveal hit that much harder to know that I was completely duped by the author and had I knew that Ghetto was up to something, but I thought it was more of like a Starscream kind of situation. I didn't know that this motherfucker was literally on 7D chess the way that he was. You know what I mean? So that impact to me was one of the craziest feelings that I felt inside of a villainous landscape of a manga in a long time. You know what I mean? So this is my tried and true first S tier placement of the night.
I had him in A, but I actually made my tier list like in December, late December. So since then, I would definitely say S for sure. Cool. Huge reveal at the end there. Wow.
How does everybody else feel about Brain Ghetto?
I have him still at A.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything S-wise, but it's funny. The main thing that takes me to keep him at A, that keeps me from boosting him to S, is how you mentioned you're not connecting Teen Ghetto or Ghetto from prequel into him.
Sure.
So for me, thinking about Brain Kun, my main thing is that all I have for him is I know that he's 1,000 years old. He was from the Heian era, and he's been plotting this whole time. Yeah. So all of those things instantly boost him to a high grade A, but I'm waiting to see how he does the rest of the plan for S for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. You just need to see a little bit more from him. The reveal, the reveal wasn't enough, and that's totally fine.
Like the plot is fine. Like I'm loving how he planned it out. I'm just waiting. Now I'm ready to see, okay, what is the real plan? Because this is clearly only your step 1. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that I'm kind of waiting for the rest to see how that goes.
Honestly, fantastic point. He's going to go bigger.
He's going to go bigger, and that's going to be a thing for a later tier list. But honestly, like the fact that he links back to Megumi's sister, he's really the one behind all of the conflict in this series. All of the conflict that we've seen. Mahito obviously killed some people, you know what I'm saying? And he did, you know, the things that he did. But I mean, like overall, it was so crazy for the story to link Ghetto's original plan to Megumi's sister. Like that was something that is so like fat brain, bumpy brain, like, you know what I'm saying? Galaxy brain shit that like no one could have possibly, no matter how many rereads, I feel like no one guessed that. I haven't like, and I don't really be in the community like that. Like I'm in the community, but I don't like scour it looking for ideas or theories or anything like that. If they show up, cool. But like inside of like what I am familiar with inside the community, I didn't see anyone call this. You know what I mean? Like that's huge. Personally.
Yeah, no, it is. I definitely for sure ain't see that shit coming. For 100%.
Right.
I think what's beautiful, man, is like I agree with you, bro, on the just your reasonings at least. Like I had him at A, but he again, like he's one of them situations where it's like, bro, I would have put him at S, you feel me?
Yeah.
But it's just the spots type shit, you feel me? But I agree with your reasonings, bro. Like, man, how them restaurant talks, bro, hit different, bro.
I swear they did.
I swear to God they do, bro. Like, bro, he just laid everything out, like how he planned to seal Gojo in the first place.
It sounded like he knew that Gojo would react the way that he did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean? Like that,
like when Jogo said like how the like we got to be in a certain amount of meters to do this. Jogo's like, basically ask them like, how the hell we gonna do that? Basically, you feel me?
Yeah.
And for Ghetto to be like, don't worry about it. Like it's just like, bro, like he playing chess, not checkers, bro.
And
like
Gege
you
wrote
said,
Gojo so well to where even though we knew that the enemy had this plan that they've been talking about the whole time and throwing out trial and error type situations inside of Jogo, inside of Hanami, you know what I mean? Like all of this stuff everything that we've seen all comes back to Geto's confidence, you know, since the series started, you know what I mean? And it's not until you go back and really look through it where all of these moments where it's like, when I was first going through Jujutsu Kaisen, I was like, okay, the plans to seal Gojo, okay, good luck, buddy. You are not like obviously this is going to be, they just barely get to there. They just almost get to seal Gojo, and then the protagonist wins.
And then Jogo's gonna do Jogo.
Yeah, that's what I
thought. Gojo gonna do Gojo.
Yeah, that's what I thought what was gonna happen, but he actually accomplished this. You know, there's not too many.
Man.
There's not
the way
too
he's
many
taunting
villains.
Yuji with the prison round, like bro,
Right,
it's just
everything.
He's such a good antagonist, bro.
Yes.
Like,
and another point that I want to make is that there's not too many shonen villains that actually accomplish their day one goals. You know what I mean? Like shonen authors love to write these giant threats. Oh, the situation is more dire than it's ever been before. Oh my God, they're gonna take over the world. Oh, they're gonna destroy the planet. They're gonna destroy the galaxy.
I definitely got.
They're gonna destroy the galaxy,
you, bro.
But
like,
then the last moment, guess what happens? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every single time, especially in the genre. But for the villain to actually win through and through completely,
I got them eyes and vibes too, bro.
Yeah,
like I could definitely got them eyes and vibes from him, bro. Like not saying they're the same character, but like just the build up, the reveal, the chess that he's playing, like it's definitely giving me eyes and vibes. Like as far as a villain, like.
Absolutely,
it's beautiful, bro. Beautiful.
Sure.
Like,
are you guys ready to move it to a vote though? I personally feel like we've talked about Brain for a while.
Yeah, we talk about him a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I have him in S.
I'm going A.
I think I'm still going A, man. But...
Okay. So two S, 3A. Ronan, you said A, right?
Yeah.
Ronan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got him A.
Brain goes to A. Let's move on. Yeah.
Man, I feel you, bro. Though, like
you know what it is.
Sure.
Yeah,
I know what it is, bro.
Yeah. Hey. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. I don't know if we're gonna have time to rearrange, but we'll see. All right. So, Urahime, how do we feel?
I have her at C.
Okay.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also have Urahime in C.
Ronan?
Put her in C.
Let me see real.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Ronan about put her in cheeks.
Bro, how'd you No. I got her in D tier.
Okay.
I think she's cool. I'm just not like it's just like okay, the way I look at it is kind of like, do I fuck with this character as much as Panda or Toge? Nah. Okay. You go below.
That's why I put Shorty in C, because I was like, yo, she ain't Panda level. Like
I put her in C just because of her personality, her demeanor, her relationship to Gojo. I think is very cool because you have obvious fangirls of Gojo inside of Miwa. Obviously, his character is written in a way to where everyone should love him, you know. But Urahime just doesn't fuck with bro, and I always thought that was a really cool aspect to her character, that everyone's in love with Gojo, but Urahime's over here like, fuck this dude. And then on top of that, right as she's about to activate in hidden inventory, Geto interrupts it and you never get to see her ability. I love when authors do that. You know what I mean? Like I love when authors are just about to show you something and then say never mind and kind of like tease you on that. Like I'm a Breaker fan, you know what I'm saying? So if you guys read The Breaker, you know all about those elders that never did anything a single time throughout both seasons that we were waiting for the whole time. Anyway, I love Urahime. I'm cool with her going anywhere the majority decides, though. I have her in C, but she's another character that I didn't really think too much about. You know what I mean?
So cool with C then?
I'm cool with C.
C's cool?
Cool with C. Yeah.
All right, Urahime goes to C. Gaku Ganji, I have Gaku Ganji in cheeks because he's a hater and he's old.
Same.
All right. Not really.
I haven't been C, but I can go lower. I can go lower.
Gaku Ganji, that's the bro that was plotting.
Yeah, man. He activated in the
bro.
exchange, and that was tight because I love characters that use guitars.
Old ass boomer. Put up the cheeks.
Man. All right.
Let's do cheeks.
We're cool with cheeks. All right. Gaku Ganji goes to cheeks. Mekamaru, where's Richie at? Hold on now. We're on
B.
Kokichi Muta.
B.
Mekamaru Cheeks says box.
Mekamaru Cheeks.
I'm screaming. Oh my god. Okay, so Mekamaru, how do we feel? Let's just get all of our placements out.
B.
I put him in B.
Okay.
Was that a D or a B?
No, B. Like
Okay.
boy.
B. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Where do you have
Okay.
him, Ronan?
I got
Ronan?
him in B too.
You have him in B. I have
him in B.
Kokichi in A.
Same.
Okay.
Okay, so are me and Doncho the only ones that have him in A?
Wait, who? Oh, we talking about Mekamaru right now, right?
Mekamaru,
Yeah.
yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, you said his first name and shit. Or
Yep,
his real
yep.
name.
Yeah. Okay.
I ain't know
so,
that nigga name.
Yeah. Okay, so Mekamaru A argument, since we are in the minority. Doncho, go ahead.
My main argument for Mekamaru is like just everything in the Shibuya incident, and even prior to that, just us getting that he was the mole and he was doing it to get his body, but he had a
Oh,
secret plan to still get away,
Yes.
and then tell everybody everything going on.
Yes.
And as much as I love to bully Richie about Mekamaru being dead, I do love Mekamaru. I think he's one of the best written characters just because we get so much out of him, even him being dead. That was one of the first times we seen really a dead character we knew was gone, coming back and them doing something to where they could still help the characters out. And I think if they actually fully listened to his plan and stick together and didn't separate, Shibuya would have been a little bit better for them, but they didn't listen. But that's just my little side note.
Let me throw in also. He has a Gundam. I totally forgot about his
Yes.
big ass
The Gundam goes crazy.
That's crazy.
He's up to A. I'm putting him in A.
I'm about to
I'm
say
switching my
he has
vote.
a Gundam, like, and even him having the heavily restriction, and we just see so many things that's in the series through Mekamaru.
In Mekamaru,
you know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Everything that you just know, like with Jujutsu Kaisen's 4, you want technical battles and smartness, Mekamaru.
Yes.
The heavily restrictions and more in power system, Mekamaru. Characters that aren't necessarily good, but then you're like, are you necessarily bad? Mekamaru. Like all of it literally just flows, and then he's a young kid who wants to get to his friends and wants to get to the girl he likes.
Yes.
But
Yes.
he's in
His
this
motivation
world.
for wanting to
Yeah.
be normal
One-
is so
the-
powerful.
Yeah.
The
he
one
just really wants to
relationship
be-
that we,
Yeah.
the one ship, the one true ship that we have in Jujutsu Kaisen, because Akutami Gege doesn't seem like they really like to write this dynamic in their story,
Right.
where, and this is something that I love Gege for, you know what I'm saying? No one's in love with the main character, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. I love that. But that doesn't mean that those things can't be written in properly. Now, like,
Right.
my issue, with shonen storytelling is that it feels like authors are too quick to jump on this train of let's just make a whole bunch of ships. Let's draw all the girls in scantily clad clothing so that it's easier to make ships because that helps with popularity and fan service, blah, 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 blah. Gege Akutami said, like, let's write wholesome relationships and not lustful ones.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's not have, all of these female characters' titties and asses out. You know what I mean? Like, let's actually write these relationships in a way that have no sexual undertones at all.
Mhm.
And
Right.
this is just people loving each other. And the
Very
first
impressive.
example we get of that is inside of Mekamaru, Kokichi, and Miwa. And it's so subtle. You know what I mean? It's built up. Like, like when you go through and reread it, you can see the breadcrumbs, but it doesn't really hit you until Shibuya. And even if you hadn't been paying attention, I feel like that scene is so powerful that it invokes those memories of Mekamaru and Miwa's character that you forgot about, and it strengthens their character. At least it did for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on top of Mekamaru being, the chess player that he is, and him being a vehicle for a lot of the themes in the series, including a better understanding of the energy system. Whenever there's characters with heavenly restrictions, those are big deals to learn about inside of this story. I feel like he has to go in A off of narrative impact alone.
Same.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel.
You put me to A. You convinced me.
We got a majority
That's
A vote?
That's
Richie, we're
You're welcome.
eating.
You're welcome.
So everyone's cool with Mekamaru in A? Or was
mean,
there
it's
any
three
kind of
to- that's
arguments that you wanted to
majority,
throw
right?
out? I could still be swayed. I feel pretty strongly. But we have like a lot of really good opinions here.
Well,
so
I
do
don't
not be
care.
shy.
I don't care enough about him being an A to argue with, so I'm cool with
Okay,
A.
cool. Ronan?
Yeah, I don't dislike his character. Yeah, I mean, like, I do think he should be in B, but like,
I do too.
I do agree about the the reasoning is really good. I just don't think he steps into like the because like we didn't put Toto in S, right? I think we had him in A.
Yeah.
I just there's something about it like my thing is always in relation. I don't think he's a Toto. I don't think he's a Geto. I don't think he's a Nobara. I don't think he's all these characters that we put in A.
Yep.
He's really good. It's just as a
Ooh, run that back, Ronan.
opinion.
You cut out. You said as I can't remember exactly where you cut out, but just repeat your last thought.
Oh, okay. So basically what I was saying is like in comparison to these other great A tier characters that Gege Akutami has written, I don't think Mekamaru stacks up. Like I don't think he has the things that Toto has, Nobara, all these other characters, right? Great character in a vacuum. Yeah. I just don't think he's one of the best Gege has put to paper.
I like that. I like that a lot. And would you be cool with an A tier placement under the, idea that, he's a very low A compared to everybody else?
Majority also. So like, that's whatever.
Sure. Okay. So we're cool with Mekamaru in A.
Yeah.
Love that. Loved your last little thought on that too, Ronan. Absolutely. So next we have, I believe this dude's name is Misato or Masato. This is the one that confronted, we've seen him before, but recently inside of the Shibuya, this is the one that confronted Kusakabe and Panda, right, in that scene. And I'm pretty sure he caught the business end of that Shinkage Ryu style once Kusakabe turned up, right? Did he hit this dude? When he finally activated, I can't remember, but either way, I got this dude. I'm cool with Cheeks or D. We don't know nothing about bro.
Cheeks.
And for the sake of the 5 at least limit, I think Cheeks is a great placement for him.
Yep.
Yeah, I put bro in Cheeks.
Unanimous. All right, absolutely. Let's not spend too much time on Buddy. Let's move into Yuki, Toto's mentor, and overall badass and amazing character design. How do we feel about Yuki?
I had her at B, but that also was before she showed up at the end of Shibuya. So I'm cool with A, but I said B.
Okay.
I put her in B.
I also have her in B.
I got her in A.
My B placement is like all potential. Like it's like 30% premature death and then like 70% hype factor at the end of Shibuya incident and like what her character could potentially mean for the future of the story.
Yep.
So
yeah. For me, I guess I'm like the lowballing Yuki's character. I had her in C. I could be convinced to B, but the thing is, for me, Yuki's main appeal in terms of like as a character does come from her her posing that kind of like philosophical question of like, oh yeah, should all shaman be killed and like kind of like improving shamans rather than keeping the status quo, right? A lot of her. I think where I'd put her to B comes after, unfortunately, like literally right after Shibuya. But that's just me.
For sure. So where do you put her at then, Ronan?
I got her in C, but like if B is like the consensus, I'm perfectly fine with moving her there.
I'm cool with B or C for Yuki. I originally had her in B, but C placement I'm totally fine with if that's the majority. How do we all feel? Let's put it to a vote.
B.
I feel like at the least B. If it's between B and C, I'm going B.
I'm going B too if it's between B and C.
B.
Okay, cool. So Yuki goes to B. All right, next we got Shigemo Haruta, aka Handy Hup Hup, aka the androgynous antagonistic force on the curse side that we all love to see die. Exactly. I personally got him in Cheeks. You know what I'm saying?
I put him in Cheeks.
All right, unanimous Cheeks decision. I mean, Nick sounds to have been swayed.
No, that's fine.
All right, next we have Uda Ume. Doncho, I'm gonna go ahead and let you get in your bag because I know that this is your character. So
this is my character.
Where do you have Uda Ume?
C, because I was being realistic and harsh.
Oh wow, okay.
So like, Yume has that A-B potential, but we got to be real. We haven't seen what they got going yet. For all we know, Yume could just be a lapdog and just does whatever is being said. So we don't know, right? So I just wanted to keep it real and go C. If I go on a rant about potential, I'm gonna have a you know
the potential.
what I'm saying?
The potential angle is one that I always knew would be like one of the biggest factors in this argument is, because those things matter. You know what I mean? Like potential and hype, those are things that go into, obviously those aren't the primary factors that we consider when we're talking about something like this, but it does have, I feel like, more of an influence than at least I realized before the conversation. You know what I mean? But Ume's potential is drastic. You know what I mean? But just based off the conversation that we've had tonight, I can't see Ume higher than C.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're cool on C?
Yeah.
All right. Ume goes to C. I think we're moving on to Kechizu. The brother, the ugliest brother that we've seen so far
Cheeks.
inside of the Choso family. I'm totally cool with
I'll
Cheeks
put
for
him in
Kechizu,
Cheeks.
even though I had him in D.
Same. I had
Yeah.
him D, but we
It's
can
fine.
go Cheeks.
Okay. Okay, well, let's just put it to a
Yeah,
vote
I
right
think-
away. Cheeks, D,
Yeah.
where we at?
I'll put him in Cheeks.
Cheeks.
I had him in Cheeks too.
Yeah,
All right,
Cheeks.
majority has spoken. All right, now we're on to Esso, the
Cheeks.
one that got a little bit more than
I said
Kechizu, but
D.
I feel like they should be in the same tier. You know what I mean? Like,
I kind of give SOD
okay,
just because I feel like that was the one because he gives us more on the death. We get nothing from the other one
Sure.
about the death,
Yeah, I feel like you get a
anything
little
about the
bit
death
from Esso.
rules.
that feels good.
But
I had
it's,
Esso and D as
so
well.
like we get more. Like we get like they don't have no grudge against Jujutsu sorcerers.
Okay,
We get the whole thing about the mother, like
Yeah.
him how he feels about his brother.
Yeah, you
getting
wanna
the
know what?
flashback of,
you're absolutely
you know.
right. Esso's got to be above Kechizu.
I would just say a D, like
That's fine.
not like CD, but like a D, just right above him.
Okay, are we cool with D?
Yeah.
All right, bet. Esso goes to D. We're moving on to Big Toji. Okay.
I'll put
Okay. Toji is
in
another
S.
one of my S tier placements.
That was my S tier as well. My third.
Does
I can see
anyone
that.
disagree with S for Toji?
I'm fine with S, but
Okay,
we can only do
Dancho
3,
disagrees.
so like
Yeah, Dancho disagrees with S. Ronan,
Yeah.
how do you feel about Toji?
So I have him personally in A,
Okay.
like literally only because once again there can only be 3, and
Mhm.
I kind of have my 2 S tiers in there, and I have my final one in the back pocket, if
Uh-oh.
you will. Toji is like Toji is one of my favorite characters. Like just from a rawness perspective, I don't
Yes.
think anybody besides like Gojo, right? I don't think anybody's touching him in terms of just being a badass. Like if
Right.
I'm being honest.
Yeah, Gojo is
And then
untouchable in the badass department, I promise you. No
Then
one
you
will
add
argue.
that depth to his character,
Mhm.
and that
Facts.
just sets it off for me as like being so like this is probably the easiest A I've ever given.
Yeah.
Just because I think he truly deserves to be S. I don't know. Like it's just yeah.
Yeah, I think that Toji as a character, this is another one of, like I said, this is another one of my S tier placements. The reason why I have Toji in S, oh my god, hold on one second, you guys. I'm sorry. I don't know how to turn this motherfucker off. Stop. How
Yeah,
about that?
Toji
There we
one of
go.
them characters, man. I'm so passionate about.
Yes.
So I just feel strongly about him. Like
The reason why Toji is as high as I rank him is obviously a combination of things, but first and foremost, when we're talking about my philosophy on my tier list and how it's based on the biggest themes of the series and who carries those themes the best, Toji introduced the only motherfucker to touch Gojo for real.
mhm.
Okay, that was huge for the story in the 70s when we thought like motherfuckers were comparing Gojo to Sinbad. They were comparing Gojo to like this was like peak Gojo hype when Toji came and folded this man. Week to week, the community was in shambles. This was an impossibility. You know what I mean? Like this is something that no one could have possibly saw coming. This is something that like people didn't know. People thought they understood Jujutsu Kaisen before Toji came in. You know what I mean? And then Toji comes in, headcanons are destroyed, outlooks are shifted. You know what I mean? Like he introduced a dynamic that I feel like hasn't been matched since
folded
his
everybody,
introduction.
bro. Literally, like. But
Bro, like,
besides,
nah.
for me, besides just him being like insanely cool, insanely strong,
Mhm.
again, for a lot of the same reasons as I had Maki in A, I have Toji, but for even more. And I feel like, again, I know we can't really dwell on potential, but I still think Toji, like, depending on how things go with Megami, still has potential to be even more influential in the
Yes.
story. Like,
Absolutely.
way more influential. Like, so, like, counting the potential, of course, not too much, because I know, like, you know what I'm saying, how that is. But,
Mhm.
like, going into his whole theme, bro, the theme of, like, the Zenin family, bro. Like I
Yes.
just like really fuck with that so much, bro. Like, and he is like the exact definition. And his conversation between his son, bro, and Shibuya.
Yes.
Yo.
Oh
Yes.
my god,
Major.
bro.
Massive
when he
for his
asked
character.
him what his name is, and I realized like I had to reread that to really understand what that meant, why he asked his son for his name, and why he ended his life after that. Because he realized him choosing Fujigoro over Zenin, I can leave things in your hands.
Yes.
That is just so beautiful to me, bro. And like,
just being so hyped that his
Man.
name was Fushiguro and not Zenin. You know what I'm saying? Like
Like-
that relied on all of the buildup that all of the, well, not, I mean, really all of the characters. Because I mean, like you have Megumi, obviously was the first time we ever heard of the Zenin. Then you have Maki that comes in with this amazing dynamic to add to it. And then you add Toji. These are all three. And then Mai, of course, is included in there too. But these are all like diametrically opposing outlooks to not only just the jujutsu world, but the family that they're a part of. And you have Toji kind of at the head as this black sheep who, like, as soon as we thought, like, okay, Megumi's situation with the Zenin is wildly unique and interesting. Maki's situation inside the Zenin is wildly unique and interesting. I wasn't ready for a defected member of the Zenin to come back in an assassin role to target Toji or to target Gojo with plans for Megumi in the background. Like, this is a fucking crescendo of a character inside of the story. You know what I mean?
And I want to speak towards Toji a little bit because there are a few things like, okay, in the scene where Gojo's like he kind of evolved, right? He was like high off of his own power. There's two scenes where we see Toji's like, we see unease, right? Toji ignores it. He starts swinging around his spear, whatever. We see unease again. And I was like, and the way he's like, no, it'll work. And I just love that because we see that Toji has an inferiority complex that's been built into him because of his lack of cursed energy. And the fact that he tries to prove a point by beating the pinnacle of jujutsu sorcery.
Wow.
Like, no. I was like, oh my God, like this is honestly, when we start getting rearranging, I might have to kick one of my S tiers out. Like you guys,
Toji,
like I just
vote Toji and S with me, bro.
Yes.
Please vote Toji and S with me right now. I
me.
need one of
You
my
got
S
me.
placements to go through. I know that you
You
had
got
Toji
me.
and
I
A.
think-
I got you.
Yeah, you got me.
let's go, Rodin.
You got it. This conversation around Toji just giving me goosebumps, bro.
Yes.
Like I'm like, oh nah, Toji got to go up there.
Yes, I love that.
Let's go.
Okay. Is there any more? Wait, Doncho. I don't think we got your reasoning for why. I don't think we got your reasoning on Toji at all.
Oh, I mean, if we was going off my personal and we didn't have like limitations, you know,
Sure.
I'm gonna put Toji the S because like Megumi and Toji's relationship is my favorite in the entire manga.
Yes.
Then my second would be Megumi and Yuji's. But like the main reason why I had him at A was just because when I looked at the other S tier characters, and we're talking about before, only in Shibuya, he still wasn't there. Now with the events of after Shibuya, I would be like, okay, boom, he's there. But with just talking about like strictly just Shibuya,
Yeah.
that moment with Megumi and him, he really is one of my favorite. Actually, I think it is my favorite moment in the entire manga.
It's a
But
good moment for that.
It's my favorite more on the personal level because I was the person when hidden inventory was going. I said, okay, Gege, how are they going to meet? I know he's dead already, but like, how is he going to find out about his dad?
Right.
And then Gege does this, and so it fed everything I wanted. You know what I'm saying? So, but like, I still had to keep him at A because if we're staying Shibuya only,
Yeah.
stuff after Shibuya is what takes him to S for me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I gotta stick at A. You know what I'm saying? But
I love that.
That's my guy.
I love that.
I love Toji for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he hopped in the hole, bro, and
He
and
said,
punched Dagon.
"What's up?
Come on, bro.
Man.
Where we at? What's up, Dag?
on,
Hey, bro, you know
Look
what-
at this, you oon.
It's crazy how he was taken down by the person who like ascended to heaven, and then we see him ascend from hell. Like we see him like come up from the bottom. Like
Yeah.
bro, that shit is so like that. The imagery that Gege. Oh my god, bro. Like God, yeah,
It's
yeah.
the-
Toji's S. Toji's S.
Toji is S as fuck, bro. And just that point that you just made of Gege's writing to incorporate dichotomies inside of or a dichotomy inside of Gojo and Toji in a way that is very apparent inside of hidden inventory. I mean, I wouldn't say it's very apparent, but like it is there. You know what I mean? And then that amplifying the way that it does in Toji's emergence inside of Dagon's domain brings that shit full. Bro, that was such a cool fucking point that you just made. I didn't even think about that. Gojo goes up, I alone am the honored one. All the narrative,
I'm really happy
all the
about
dialogue,
this, bro.
Toji goes down. That's
I'm really
so
happy
sick.
about this, bro. I ain't gonna lie, cause he's literally my analysis of him is my favorite video on my second channel, bro.
Yes.
Cause I love his character so much.
Absolutely. So we're cool. So wait, is this
So
a Toji S tier placement right now?
I think.
Yeah, that would be.
I think majority. Yeah.
That's majority.
Yeah.
I think it's majority. Yeah.
We're eating. All right, let's go, baby. Boom. Toji in S tier. That's all she wrote. We're eating, gentlemen. Toji fans, let's go. Next up, we got this lady, which I believe is a part of the original Ghetto group, right?
You don't
Was
know.
she,
I can't
with
remember her
the
name.
The Tengen.
Oh,
She's
sure.
the nurse.
Let me double
lady.
check actually, because I have the wiki pulled up.
You
Misato
talking about
Kuro.
Rico's
Oh, this is
protector?
Misato. Okay.
Oh,
Misato
you mean the maid
Kuroi.
lady?
Yeah, I don't remember anything that she did. So like I'm totally
Nah, she.
tell me where to
yeah,
place
she's-
her.
D.
All
I
right.
have her D.
D is cool. Let's go D and just not even let's just
Yeah,
not even
sure.
talk. All right. Next we got Rico Amanai. How do we feel about Rico?
B.
I think I
had her in
I have
C.
B too.
Where do I have Ivor and B?
I honestly I fuck with B as a placement. I don't know. Like I really because Amanai I think speaks a lot towards Tengen and like all that shit. Like I think Amanai like and then her quote unquote send off was tragic. I think honestly
you did not say send off. The vibe check,
bro. When I tell you like I have overly hype reactions to manga, but I literally jumped. I was like, yo,
I
like, we
left
just
out
came
my
to a
shit.
resolution to this.
Yeah.
Yo,
That
That's
was
like,
such a
yo.
drastic moment
yo,
in the
Maxie
storytelling.
was there, bro, when I was doing my live read through. She died on screen, and
Sensei
I didn't
was
even
lit.
react.
He was like, "What the fuck?"
Nah, bro, that's
She
not what
died with a
happened.
smile
Yeah,
on her
I
face,
remember.
bro.
I remember.
Like,
You were like, "Wait a
no.
minute, he just domed her."
Yeah,
I remember
but
you were
no.
stuck on that page for a minute. I thought.
No, it wasn't her. That was a different death.
Oh,
I read past her death.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and Knox said, "Yo, no reaction." I
yeah.
didn't even react.
Yeah. That's right. I was like, "Wait a minute."
Y'all just kept reading, bro.
Yeah, I was like, "Wait, that's right." Oh my god, I was like, "Wait, Sin did not just miss this."
I didn't miss it. I just didn't care. Like,
Oh shit! I thought you missed it. I thought that you like
Nah.
accidentally went a page ahead. I don't even remember. I remember. Yeah, that's right. I was
bro.
like, "Wait a minute, hold on, you got to go back, player."
when I went back and reread that arc, I care a lot more. But doing the live read through, I was just like, bro, I don't care. But I think that's just because I was trying to get through.
You were
the
trying to
shit.
get through you were
Yeah.
trying to see everything that it was setting up. Yeah,
Exactly,
absolutely.
facts.
Amanai's like situation is something that I feel like requires a reread to fully appreciate. You know what I mean? Because there's so much going on in it. It doesn't. Okay, I'm gonna take that back and say it doesn't require it because I didn't need one. But like, I could see where a lot of people might be like, I don't even know this lady. You know what I'm saying? Like the pacing inside of hidden inventory, you know, was weird for a lot of people. You know what I mean? So like, I totally get that. But yeah, Amanai I feel like should be B, but I'd be cool with a C placement.
I'm cool with B.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. Where's everybody? Well, let's just put it to a vote. Where's everybody got Amanai?
I got B.
I got B
I'm
too.
cool with B.
B is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all right, Ivor.
Amanai
Majority
goes.
B.
Amanai goes to B. All right, cool. Now we got Awakasa, the inverse shaman.
Yo, Netero.
Yeah, young Netero Jr. How do we
Yeah,
feel?
you know what I'm saying?
I got him at Cheeks.
I'll put him in cheeks, but I definitely think I definitely fucked with him when I seen him.
I had C. I loved it. I love this guy.
I have him in C too. I loved him when he was introduced. I feel like the block was lit as fuck when those chapters were going down because everyone was trying to figure out what his ability was.
Yeah.
And there was and this is another example of when I'm going outside of the narrative, you know, for my reasoning because like community impact matters to me, even if the narrative doesn't really say that this character matters much. You know what I mean? And the conversations around this character were so huge when he was introduced. And obviously he's tied into our understanding of how sorcerers behaved before Gojo. That was a really cool dynamic to get introduced in the Shibuya incident. Like, yo, before Gojo was born, motherfuckers were running rampant out here and loving it. Gojo is born, and now they kind of have to like not be the way that they are and how they have been their entire life. You know what I mean? So that was a really cool angle for the storytelling to go inside of an arc like Shibuya, in my opinion. So I have to put personally Awakasa in C tier because the fight was amazing. I love his design. His ability is like one of the most discussed in the community before it was revealed. And it was just like at that point in the Shibuya incident where we didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but we had been in it for a while. And like this was like the biggest point before it turned into what it turned into. You know what I mean? And I just think he deserves a C tier placement for that. How do you guys feel though?
I feel like personally C a little too high.
Yeah,
I feel like
fine.
C too high.
That's fine.
I can go lower than C.
I can go lower. I'm
cool
cool with
D.
D.
Yeah,
I don't think I can agree
Not
with
Cheeks.
Cheeks.
No
though.
way Cheeks for me.
Cheeks
Like
too
he can't be
low.
Cheeks for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could go with a D, but like it's funny because I don't like his design. I feel like the ability kind of like left me like, oh, okay, you know. Like, so like I kind of got him like he kind of was like all he is to me is showing me, oh yeah, Megumi and Yuji got nice. Bye.
So you had big ideas for what this dude's ability was, and then as soon as it was revealed, you were like, "That's not that cool."
It's not even necessarily big ideas because I think
sure.
there was a few people I seen like the week before it was like released, like we found out what it was. People started guessing the inverse.
Oh, cool.
So when they started guessing that, I was like, okay, that makes sense.
That
and when
blew
it
my
was
shit.
that, I said,
I wasn't even
I
ready
was like,
for that.
okay.
I was
Yeah,
so mad when we got the information because I was like, "Bruh, yeah."
Yeah,
Like, duh. Like, I love when
common sense.
authors do that, when they have an obvious answer to a question, but no one answered it before it was answered.
Right.
You know what I mean? I love, and obviously you said that there were some theorists out there that figured it out. I didn't personally see them, so maybe that has to do with my Awakasa placement
Right.
compared to yours. But I'm cool with D.
Yeah, D's fine.
Fuck
Yeah.
him. D.
Cool.
All right, bye. D tier. All right, now we're at the grandson of Oigama. The motherfucker that turned into Toji,
Cheeks.
I put him in Cheeks just because this motherfucker was literally just there to give us the goat back and got scraped beforehand. So Cheeks, is that cool with y'all?
Yeah.
Who is this? Sorry.
This is the nameless grandson of the Seance user.
Oh yeah, Cheeks is fine.
Yeah,
I had him
alright.
at D, but Cheeks is
All
fine.
right. Well, next up we got Oigama, and I personally have her in D. I can't put her in Cheeks just because she. Why? Why though?
I ain't gonna lie, I put her in Cheeks.
Yeah, I got her in Cheeks, man, because it's like,
I do
bruh.
too, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's like Cheeks is cool. I have her in D just because I have to put her above the grandson because she did more. She did more for our understanding of Juryoku. She brought in an entirely unexpected curse technique that we didn't think that, at least I didn't think that we'd see in the series. And it ties into an amazing explanation for why Toji came back, which I feel like is another trite, played out thing that Shonen does. But Gege took that, understood it, recognized the issues with the trope, and said, how can I do this like as if I was Togashi, essentially, is what I felt like. You know what I mean?
So
and
that's why, like, for me, like, it has to be a tier above the
yeah,
grandson.
it has to be a tier above the grandson for
agree
me.
with
Like, I have to put her D because she did so much for our understanding of the mythos. You know what I mean?
I could go with that. I actually go with a D too. I'll take that.
Okay.
That's fair.
We're
I think
cool
that's
with
fair.
D?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oigama goes in D. I don't even know if that's the right way I'm saying it. May May. How do we feel about May May?
I had B.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me
maybe
see where I got her again. I think I put her
bro.
in C just because she's so cringy. Yeah, I put her in C.
Yeah.
I put her at like the beginning of C though, because like honestly,
Same.
before like the ooey stuff, like, and honestly, I still have a headcanon that like makes that like not as bad. You know what I mean? So like that affects
Same.
you know, like my rankings. And I've talked about that like on the show. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's hard to say how I feel about Mei Mei, honestly, because as a character, when she started doing the things that she was doing in Shibuya, I was like, fuck yeah, another strong, independent female character who's really shitting on the rest because of her position. You know what I mean? We haven't really seen too much from her, but we know she's colder than Maki and Nobara. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting here going, this character has a ton of potential and she's bad. Why did you give her the sibling complex, bro? Like, I'm so like, this is the only issue that I've ever, and I'm sure this is one, you know, issue that everybody has with Gege Akutami's writing. It might be the first issue that everybody has had with Gege Akutami's writing, for all I know. But I just really do not like the sibling complex trope. I wish that it was never used. But other than that, excluding that, I think that she should be an A tier character, but I have to put her in C. You know what I mean? Just because I don't like the taste in my mouth that her chapters gave me at the end of Shibuya. You know what I mean? Like, that's
what do
really
y'all got? Ronan, what do you got?
Yeah.
Ronan
or Sin?
Who we talking about?
Yeah, Sin. We're talking about Mei.
Oh, Mei.
Just because she. Oh, can y'all not hear me?
Oh no, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, that's my
probably
bad.
put Mei in like probably C.
Sure. Where do you got her, Ronan?
I have her in C tier just because she was really cool before, but like she's just a weird, like she's like a weirdo now. Like, I mean, like, she's cool, but she's a weirdo.
She's very weird.
Dropping her character like that low after everything she showed us. But like, that situation is so fucking strange and fucked up, and like, I can never get behind it, and it sucks that I have to lower my ranking of her for something like that. But that is kind of a big deal to me. You know what I mean?
Dancho, what do you got?
I got her for a B.
We cool with C, or we want to vote on BC?
If y'all want to go C, I'll take the C. I don't mind.
I think majority says C, because I think
let's do C.
With C. I think Ronan said he had C, and then he said C. All right, cool. So Mei goes in C. Next we got Ui. I think they should be in the same tier.
Yeah, I had him in C.
I'm down. I'm cool with putting him in D though, because he hasn't shown as much, combat wise. Yeah, bro in cheeks. I think he's tight. I think he's tight because he has a simple domain, and like that those chapters where they were fighting the smallpox curse, he had his hands behind his back like he was older than he really is, and it was really interesting to see.
I don't know, bro.
Like, he's like an enigma to me. So like, I couldn't put him in cheeks just because
how he be acting like towards his sister and all that.
Yeah,
it's weird. Like,
okay, so I'm cool with cheeks.
Yeah, I had him in D tier. I think the simple domain was cool. Yeah. But like, outside of that, like, he just has the weird relationship with his sister, and then like not much else besides that.
Let's go cheeks then. Fuck him.
Oh, damn.
Wait, that's the majority, right?
That's fine with me. I don't care.
I'm pretty sure 3 people said cheeks. Okay, so now we have Mimiko and Nanako. I believe they go in the same tier. Arguably.
I had B for both. They're interesting.
I have B also, because I legitimately feel like Mimiko's technique is going to come back in a post-mortem effect to enhance her character later on, you know, in the story. I thought it would happen by the end of Shibuya. It might be past her time as far as post-mortem effects go. I don't really know. I'm associating this with Nen in my understanding of it so far, I guess. Mekamaru is really the only really strong example that we have of post-mortem Juryoku actually making a drastic difference in anything. But like, I really strongly feel like we just wouldn't not like the fact that we didn't get exposition on her technique when it was a point of interest multiple times in the story just makes me think it's going to come back and have a later effect and be explained when it does. So that makes me just amplifies Mimiko's care, or Nanako, I can't remember which one it is, but whoever curse user, whichever curse technique it belongs to, their character, I feel like kind of goes above the other for that reason.
Yeah.
Ronan, what do you got?
How do you guys feel?
Ronan?
I'm gonna be honest. I had them in cheeks.
Sure.
Because I just didn't care for them. Like, if I'm being honest, like, I don't think they weren't like inherently bad characters. When I saw them on screen, I don't feel a particular way. The technique is cool, but like, I don't know. Like, you know, I feel like the relationship with Geto is interesting. The dynamic they had with Sukuna was pretty crazy in Sukuna's favor.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just they just don't do anything for me personally, if I'm being 100% honest.
Where do you put them?
They said cheeks. They both said cheeks.
Oh, you said cheeks? Wait, who? Okay, both of you guys. Okay, so where do you have them, Dancho?
I have them at B, both of them.
Okay. And
so do we want to? Do I want to?
We can meet in the middle and go. We can put. How about the one without the technique goes in D. The one with the technique goes in C.
That's fine.
Sure.
That cool?
Sure.
So black hair goes in D. Blonde hair goes in C, and we're cool with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too.
All right, bet. Next, we're moving on to Dagon. How do we feel about Dagon?
C.
I have Dagon, I believe, in C as well. Let me double check.
For me,
I had him in B.
For me, he is very much not as interesting as Hanami or Jogo, but I had Jogo A, Hanami B, and then obviously Dagon would be C.
Yeah,
but based on the other rankings, like I just need him to be lower than Jogo and Hanami personally.
Absolutely.
But
I'm cool with C placement for him too.
Yeah,
I'll take C.
Where did you have him, Doncho?
Yeah, I think
I had him B because Dagon resonated with me more than Hanami.
Okay.
Even though I love Hanami, like whole like the planet Earth thing, which is like probably one of my favorite things ever. But Dagon's personification going against Naobito and Maki and Nanami kind of just hit me in a whole different way, where it was like that reminder, like none of the other curses are reacting to each other's deaths, but Dagon was.
Yeah.
And I think that was why I really messed with Dagon, because Dagon just remembering Hanami was dead because of Jujutsu Sorcerer when he sees one, then fully activating and yelling at Naobito saying, "We
got names, cuz. What you mean?
Say my name.
Why you call me cursed spirit? I'm daggone."
And to be completely honest, he was talking his shit and was whooping their ass at the same time.
Right.
He was talking his shit and was whooping their ass. So it's like
these last four is tough.
I know.
Man. Dagon was going stupid. So I'm gonna go B.
I had him at B too. I was cool with putting him
Ronan?
at C based on the conversation, but now I got him back up at B again. Ronan, how do you feel?
I personally have him at D.
Ooh.
Yeah, like, okay, so this is just, like, once again, this is a little bit more of a personal thing. Like, I think Dagon having, like, that human connection with his fellow curses is really cool. Yes. I do think him saying, like, we have names, like, like, you're treating us as if we aren't, like, these sentient beings exactly like you, as if we aren't a reflection of humanity. And I do like that. It's just something about it. I feel like it's done in such a minuscule way, maybe, that, like, the focus, like, if I'm being honest, I feel like Dagon could have had more focus on his actual character, a little bit in perspective. I just didn't see much. For me.
Real quick, you kind of like your internet kind of like crapped out for a second. Can you run that last thought back one more time?
Yeah. So basically, for me, it was just like Dagon, like I wanted to see more of what he thought, and I wanted to see a little bit more of his interactions, like maybe back and forth with Maki and Naobito and with Dagon. I just feel like Jogo and Hanami talk more, and I get a little bit more insight on what they're truly thinking.
Absolutely.
Dagon says his piece and then goes to work. Like, and that's not bad. It's just I just don't understand him as much.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And that's why you have him in, you said that's why you had him in D, right?
Yeah, that's why I have him at D tier.
You're cool with C though?
Yeah, I'm fine with C.
I personally like I went from B to C back to B, and like I'm cool with C again after that. Like that's why these conversations are so powerful.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's not even for the sake of the convo either. Like legitimately, like that was an amazing point that you made, Doncho. Before you made an amazing point. I think that all things considered, I think that C is the strongest placement for Dagon now.
That's what y'all want to do, yeah.
Are we? Is that majority?
Yeah,
I'm cool with C.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Dagon goes to C. Now we're in the final four, gentlemen.
Final four.
Okay. Naobito Zenin. How do we feel about Naobito?
B.
I have him in B too.
I got bro in B.
Oh.
Is that a unanimous B? Ronan, where you got him?
Yeah. I got him in B.
Let's go. All right. Naobito goes in B. Does anybody want to say words? I feel like all of the words come from.
Yo, his ability is cold.
Yeah.
Yo, his ability
is cold.
Bro, his ability is fucking cold, bro.
Yeah.
Cold.
Yeah.
I know that don't got nothing to do with his character, but bro, that shit is cold.
Hey, that shit cold though. Hey, but his character clearly cares about his FPS and his 4K. So we gonna go ahead and go.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Love it. We don't need to say too much more on Naobito. I feel like this is a unanimous decision. We should take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Yuta Okotsu. How do we feel about Yuta? Is this anyone's S tier placement?
No.
I had A.
Okay.
A.
Let's see. I think I put bro in B. Oh no, I put him in A.
Okay, good.
Woo! Okay,
would
so that's a
under- I would
unanimous A to
understand
your
B.
placement.
Yeah, I put him
He's
in A.
not too crazy, but I would
Okay.
have
Unanimous.
understood that.
Okay, so I feel like Yuta, we need to say words about Yuta just because of his current plot relevance, and obviously he is the main character of the prequel. That amplified him. Now that I'm remembering, when I was originally making this list, I originally went through it with just Jujutsu Kaisen in mind, and then had to go back through it again and consider, the prequel. After considering the prequel, it didn't really change. I had him in B, and then he moved up to A. You know what I mean? So, how do you guys feel?
When bro said, I know we talking about Shibuya, but when bro said, is that Satoru, is that Sensei Gojo? Like when he thought that bro was Gojo,
Yeah.
I said, then he said, nah, this is a much more ominous presence.
Yeah,
I said,
bro.
Oh man, bro,
Oh,
come on,
no.
son.
Or
I ain't
like
gonna lie,
the,
like Yuta showing back up. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna say this. I was sleep on Yuta at first because when I read the prequel initially, I just did it because my subscribers wanted me to. So I was just skimming through it. I wasn't really paying too much attention. When I went back and dug into it, man.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yuta's
Hold on,
really,
this motherfucker.
He's really one of them, like, bro. So he showed back up, bro. I said, oh man, like
the scene at the beginning of the Shibuya incident, right, where it's Brain Coon, I think, right, talking to Gojo, right? And he's like, you don't really think that Yuta is the next Gojo, right? And it's like to even put them, in that same sentence or whatever. And I said this, the phrasing wrong or whatever, but something like that, right? Like that's huge. That is immense for his character.
Absolutely. And I think back to that line of dialogue all the time because he mentioned Hikari in that same sentence, I believe, in that same breath. He was like, these people have the potential to overcome me, to outdo me. You know what I mean? Like that's a huge line of dialogue, to get from characters that were four characters that we really don't know anything about. I mean, obviously we have Yuta from the prequel, but we don't know anything about Hikari. And now that I look at it, Hikari's not on this list. Richie, it's Black History Month. What are you doing? Anyway.
I ain't gonna lie. I think it was something so beautiful, bro, about and just outside of the story, really. It's part of the story, but of the prison realm and then Brain Coon like fixating so much on capturing Gojo is like little does he really understand, like no matter if he seals him, there's always gonna be another. There are other sorcerers here that like will at some point get to that level. Like, and I'm so excited to see Nobara, Megami, and Yuji in particular's growth.
Yeah.
Like, bro, he got trouble in his hands. Like, yeah, he took out the strongest, but he still has trouble in his hands. I think that's what's so awesome about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
One scene that rings in my head. There's a couple, but like one thing, because we talked about power. When the elders are like the heads of Jujutsu like sorcery are just kind of like, you got to keep Rika under control. And he's like, what are you gonna do if she freaks out? He's like, I'll give my life to stop her. It's like, what do you mean you'll give your life?
Right,
like you're Gojo.
What? Yeah.
Like you're Gojo. You don't give your life. You body people. And and when you compare that to him saying like, oh, 20 finger Sukuna, I'll body that. Yeah. I'm like, hey, yo. But a really good, like more of an emotional character scene.
Yeah.
For me is like when he realizes that he actually cursed Rika instead of vice versa.
Yeah.
That was like, oh, he's like, love is like the greatest curse of all. I was like, oh man, like that really kind of hit for me because it was like he realized that he wanted Rika to be alive and with him more than anything, and because of that it was like that scene does a lot for me, and then kind of his perspective on morality after that. He's like, honestly, I don't really care if I'm right or wrong. Like I need to feel like I deserve to be alive.
Yes, and
my friends do that. So you hurt my friends, we run in hands. Like, and I respect that.
I love that, dude. That's amazing. And like, honestly, it's been a fat minute since I read the prequel, but like the one thing that I took away from the prequel was like Yuta's, because I read it at like that perfect moment in between hidden inventory and premature death. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like at that moment, I was like, okay, this arc gave us information about curse tools, heavenly restrictions, more about the energy system inside of reverse curse technique, and it all like kind of like ties back to Yuta in the prequel, giving us more information about Juryoku in regard to vengeful spirits, cursing you with your last words. These are things that I feel like are going to be very prominent in the future storytelling of Jujutsu Kaisen, especially when we start talking about Yuji and his grandfather. And I feel like that will tie directly back to the relationship of Yuta and Rika, as far as Kiko's original theory kind of like went on our show way back when we were talking about it whenever we did. But just the fact that my philosophy on this tier list went so heavily into the themes of Jujutsu Kaisen and who carries them the strongest. Yuta, I feel like, is one of the best examples of like ultimate potential in the Jujutsu world, along next to Gojo. And I know that this isn't about strength, but when it comes to a situation like that, I feel like Yuta's placement in A makes so much sense. I could see him as an S tier character based on his potential. Obviously, we're not going to go there, but I think that A makes perfect sense for Yuta. Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's lock it in.
Yeah, so he's locked in. Before we go into the last two here, we have Yuji and Sukuna as the last two. Obviously, we have to shout out to the characters that were not included in the tier list, which are Ino and Hikari. Ino, I feel like, just for the sake of conversation, is a very easy C tier, maybe even D tier. I think that we can all kind of agree on those two placements. Not too much conversation needs to be had there. I think Ino was great as a grade 1 sorcerer potential, introduced in the series when he was as a student that was aspiring to the grade 1 position. That was something that we see being extended to our main protagonist cast later on in the series. So it has, you know, that relevance as far as building up those breadcrumbs to having a better understanding of the mythos. You know,
we just need more though.
We do need more of Ino. He got scraped by Toji, but he had an amazing showing on the rooftop beforehand and had one of the coolest abilities that had all of us talking for that entire week. So I think C is a good place for Ino despite his showing.
Right.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Hikari, I put in D, even though he has all the potential in the world because of Gojo's line of dialogue. We just don't know anything about this dude.
Yeah.
So I figured he should go in D. Does anyone disagree with that?
I think that's fine.
I'm sorry, what happened?
Hikari, light skinned cat with the high top fade and the plugs.
Yeah, D cool. I ain't tripping.
All right, cool. All right, just wanted to throw that out there for the people who are. Oh yeah, and Kusakabe is also not on the list. Where does Kusakabe go? Sorry, Trey.
I put him in C.
I love Kusakabe in C.
Yeah,
he introduced a very human element to, you know, the bravado and kind of outlook of Jujutsu sorcerers that
I love human characters, bro.
Exactly, and everyone hated on Kusakabe for being a bitch or whatever.
Bro said, I don't want to be here, bro.
Honestly, like, it was literally just like a very relatable representation of us, the reader, in Shibuya Incident. You know what I mean?
That's damn sure what I would have been on.
Yeah, you're right.
Y'all throwing
bro, I'm trying to go home.
Right, but he was with the smoke. Like, when it mattered and the smoke was present, he stands up instantly, regardless of his internal monologues and what he would rather be doing. As soon as the action is on, he's in the mix.
And that goes into that whole like soliloquy we talked about earlier with Toto, bro. That's what Jujutsu sorcerers do.
Yeah.
So it's like he didn't want to do it, but that's his duty. Like, so when he had to do it, that's what, you know what I'm saying. When it mattered most is when he stood up. Absolutely.
For sure. Okay, so Kusakabe in C, Hikari in D, Ino in C. That's where we're going. Final two. Yuji Itadori. This is another one of my S tier placements. For like my overall philosophy of the tier list. I feel like Yuji is the strongest example of everything that I've been talking about tonight. So he has to go in S for me.
Does anyone disagree with S for Yuji? Like,
nah, I think we got. I want him in S.
Okay, Yuji goes in S. Dancho, you didn't really say anything, but
oh no, I agree.
Okay,
S,
cool.
All the way. Yeah.
All right, boom. Unanimous decision on Yuji. We don't gotta say too much about that motherfucker. Sukuna. Big final before we start rearranging, because obviously we have too many characters in the S tier. So Sukuna is something that I contemplated putting in S tier, but ultimately just decided only one antagonistic force should be in the S tier, even though I agree that Sukuna is an S tier character. Without the stipulation on the tier list, he would be an S for me. So
I put him at A.
Okay.
Same.
I think this is a very easy A place.
Sukuna is going to be a definite S.
Did anybody have him in S? Did anybody have him in S? Okay. Unanimous A tier placement for Big Daddy Sukuna. That is it. That is how it goes. This is the tier list.
Who are we knocking out of S?
Who are we knocking out of S?
Nah.
I wouldn't move him.
Who said no?
I would
Nah,
just like
we
to
keeping
say
the list this way.
I got
Megumi.
all
Megumi.
three of mine in S. So I'll let y'all take one.
Okay, so wait, Gojo's the only one not in your S?
No, Gojo is.
Oh wait, so
Gojo's
Yuji's
my
not the
S.
one in your S.
No.
Oh wait, no,
Yuji,
Toji.
Toji's
Okay.
the only one not in my S, and I'll accept S for Toji, so y'all can remove whoever y'all
Toji
want.
is the only one that I don't want to take out of S, but Yuji is the only one that I feel like can't be taken out of S. So I don't know. I have no idea how this is going to go. Does anyone? Okay, let's do it like this. Does anyone agree that Gojo should be taken out of S?
S.
Low key, I would move him out. Out of these four.
I also would move him out of these four, but that's minority vote.
Well,
So,
should
that no, I have that.
I can be
too.
convinced, I guess.
If we want to remove,
I have that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
My bad.
No, you're fine.
Oh, I was just saying, I agree if we're talking about moving him out of S to A. I think Gojo is moved personally. I don't know if that's the minority, but that's what I had.
wait. I agree too. So
Yeah,
I
I
do
agree
too.
as well.
Out of those
Okay.
four, yeah.
Ooh, let's be controversial and move Gojo out of S into A.
I know the chat probably livid.
Chat's
like,
gonna go,
Oh no,
They're not
dude! If
looking, but I know they mad.
Mel is watching this right now, I'm sorry, Mel, but I think majority vote says Gojo goes to A tier.
Yeah.
Wow,
I'm happy with this list if I'm being honest.
Me too. I'm excited for that.
I think so. Here's an interesting thing, like based on the whole conversation tonight, right, and also stuff in the
I'm
chat
putting him back
from
in S
earlier,
for
right?
now until we're done with
Like,
the conversation.
Here's an interesting thing. Like Gojo has started at the top, and it's interesting that he started here
The
in
chat
S,
thinks
right?
it's Megami. The chat thinks it's Megami.
For sure,
To
for
take
sure.
out? Okay.
To take out.
Okay.
But like Gojo started at the top, but in terms of the narrative, in terms of the future plot, in terms of his potential, right?
Yes.
Everyone else is going to go up. He has nowhere to go but down. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
So like that in a sense, like I could see in terms of the potential argument, giving it to Gojo moving out, keeping Megumi obviously with a huge potential in, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. When you put it like that, bro.
I just feel like for Gojo, and especially if we're doing Gojo comparison to Megumi, Gojo has run his course. So like if we're going to give Gojo the S off of everything we've seen him do, that's cool. But a lot of what we've seen him do is, which makes him S tier, really is things in the past, not things we've seen him actually.
I don't know because Gege keeps giving Gojo feats in the box.
Right, exactly. So you keep getting more feats from stuff he's done in the past or things that can compare it to someone else doing. But then when you look at characters like Megumi, the same thing is being done, but in the opposite way. Where Gege keeps telling you, this character's going to get better, this character's going to get better, this character's going to get better. So like, it's just like Nick said, it's like Gojo really has nowhere to go but down because now he's stagnant. You can't get nothing present. You'll just get a whole bunch of flashbacks.
This is so hard.
Wow.
But is the fact that his
characters
characters? Oh, sorry. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm just saying the other three characters are more like, okay, we haven't gotten enough yet. Feed me more.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like even with Toji being dead, you're still like, okay, but when am I getting my next Toji from?
I know, dude. But
You know what I'm
the
saying?
same can be. But see, like this. But like with Gojo in this box, the exact same thing can be said about Gojo from a Gojo fan perspective. Of this motherfucker's in the box right now. You think he's staying in the box? No, he's gonna get out the box, and then we're gonna have an entirely new reason to put Gojo at the top of the echelon of this list. You know what I mean? Like
Maybe.
at
Yeah.
any point in time, Gege can just say
It's just like,
anything about
bro.
Gojo inside or outside of this box, and it will drastically improve his stock. I feel like.
For me, I think that so here's my perspective, kind of like a little bit of a theory based on like the narrative that Gojo's been pushing. But like I think what Gojo has been advocating for is finally getting the weight of the Jujutsu world not being all on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Right? I remember distinctly because I had to make a video on it, but in chapter 18, Gojo mentions Yuji, Todo, and Yuta being characters who can surpass the level of special grade. And then he actually makes a claim that Megumi has more raw skill and potential than Yuji does.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's then you got Hikari in there. That's like 5 characters, right? Who can just surpass Gojo. I think what Gojo is now is he's been showing us the status quo of the old world, quote unquote.
Sure.
And what we are moving now into is like this forced evolution of the new world. Because I think like the Heian period, right, was like the golden age of curses because it was literally do or die. And now since we're moving back, now since we're moving back into that, literally all these already high potential characters are in do or die. And keep in mind, Gojo evolved to what he is now after literally being on the brink of death. So I think all these puzzle pieces come together for all these characters getting the catalyst to be Gojo tier or higher.
It's crazy.
Jesus Christ, Ronan.
Yo.
Spitting.
It's crazy. It's
Wonderful.
crazy. Like
Drastically
it's crazy
spitting.
how everything in the story, like I will say this, everything in the story revolving the time periods and like what Ronan was saying with the do or die revolves around Gojo. His birth changed everything. Him being taken out of the world changed everything again. So it's
Right.
like,
Wow.
it's bro is like just super important to the story. Like, but a lot of, I'm not gonna lie, like I think a lot of Gojo's appeal, and I know that y'all in the chat might not gonna like me saying this, but a lot of his appeal is just him being cool. Like he's really fucking cool. But
A lot of the appeal, yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
a
like,
lot of the surface
appeal-
level appeal, absolutely.
I'm looking at the other three, and I just feel like from a writing standpoint, I like what's going on with them more. I like
Sure.
Gojo for different reasons than them in that regard.
And see, Gojo is always going to be a character that it's never going to feel right moving out of S. You know what I mean? That's why he started in S in the stream. Although that was a joke, there was a lot of truth to that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for
Because
sure.
of his relevance in the story. And honestly, as like the overpowered character archetype, Gege cracked the code. You know what I mean? Like how many future stories are we going to see? We're already starting to see it inside of Phantom Seer with Yayoi. You know what I mean? Like we are already seeing, and I don't know if that was actually influenced by Jujutsu Kaisen or not,
Right.
because I haven't heard the authors say anything. But Yayoi feels a lot like Gojo, and if we're already seeing that kind of influence in the Shonen Jump landscape when the series is already like not even finished, still going, and probably still has yet to show us what it's not really what it's trying to do. We know what it's trying to do. This is the first big arc, though, is what I'm saying. Like for you to be that influential before your biggest arc is even complete, if Gege Akutami directly did influence Phantom Seer, it's like, what does that mean for the actual future of the genre when Jujutsu Kaisen is finished? You know what I mean? And Gojo is going to come back as, you know, one of those pillars in the shift of shonen storytelling, as we got female characters down pat, we got overpowered characters down pat. Like these are the things that Jujutsu Kaisen is going to be remembered for, and Gojo stands at the top of all of that, in my opinion. So that's why it's so hard to move him out of S. Yeah.
Yes. Are we agreed that the vote is to pick between Megumi and Gojo to
Good
move out of
point,
S? Should we
Nick.
put it to
Yes.
a vote?
Yeah. Should we put it to a vote between Gojo and Megumi
We can,
For moving down.
for moving
Or
down?
Toji? Like y'all are
Okay.
like y'all we're super
I
cool
think-
with
I
Toji
think-
being
I ain't
Toji.
moving Toji. I don't care.
Solidified.
That's fine.
care.
That's fine.
Toji
I think-
stand.
I
Y'all
think
can
it's
hate
the-
me.
Yeah, I think Yuji can't be moved 100%.
I agree. Yeah,
I'm cool.
Yuji
I'm cool with
can't
Toji
move.
being
Yeah.
moved too.
All right, so let's vote. Let's vote. Who is
All right.
moving out?
Vote out of those three, right?
Megumi or Gojo?
I think it is between Megumi and Gojo, and Toji feels like the one that should be contemplated here. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like, I think
I
He
Toji
is a
should
very
stay.
special character.
I don't
Yeah,
want to
he's
move
so,
him, but I,
he's too special.
Y'all swayed me really hard to place him
yeah, I
high
don't
in
want to
S.
move him.
Yeah.
bro.
He's
Yeah. Okay.
very
Okay.
special.
All right. So the vote comes down to Megumi and Gojo being moved out of S tier down to A tier. Okay. So let's just do it. All in
Yeah.
favor of Megumi staying
Yo,
in
can we
S
go
tier?
one at a time, bro? 'Cause
Absolutely.
Let's do one at a time.
Let's do one at a
I need
time.
You
time to
call him
think,
out, Knox.
Yes.
And-
Okay.
And it's
Here we go.
it's who
We'll
we're
leave Sin
moving
last.
forward.
We'll leave Sin last. Okay. So all in favor of moving Megumi from S tier to A tier. I'll go first. I think Megumi goes to A tier.
Megumi A tier, double vote.
We know Doncho's not voting that.
Ronan?
And we know Ronan's not voting.
Neither, bro. Oh man.
All right, Sin.
Sin, it's up to you. Does Gojo or Megumi go in A tier?
All right, I'm gonna say this simply because of how important Gojo is to the story, and like a lot of the story has been like Gojo, bro. Like Gojo is like just that factor that changes everything in the story, bro. And like,
Shit.
I feel like Megami, although he's clearly a S tier character, but since we have only 3 spots, I will move Megami to A.
Oh shit!
We did it.
Oh, my heart.
My heart
That's the tier
too,
list.
dude. But this is the tier list, right?
That was really hard to do, though.
This was so hard, you guys. Like honestly, like let's just take a minute to look at this tier list. Now I understand that this has been going on for over 3 hours now, so there's probably not going to be enough room for a rearrangement phase. So let's just take a look at the list that we have here right now.
Mm-hmm. I love this list.
I
honestly.
love the list. I love the list. There are only a couple spots here that I don't feel the best about, but it's not like a drastic feeling. You know what I mean? Like I feel really good about the conversation that we had tonight. And even though this is kind of way different than my list, like the conversation makes this feel really good.
I'm honestly disappointed people are so sleep on Megumi, to be honest.
Oh man.
Hey,
Like,
good
I-
good arguments on both sides, I think.
Out of everybody on the S tier, in my personal opinion,
Yeah.
he was like the main one.
I know,
Like,
dude.
I feel like even if you're giving it to Yuji, if you're not giving it to Megumi, it's kind of like you're missing the point.
I
But I
know,
don't know.
dude.
That's just me. Like,
Listen, man, I agree. Like this is what it comes down to, because like there isn't a single point that's going to be brought up in this point that's disagreed with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything that you just said makes perfect sense. If Yuji's an S, Megumi should be an S. I fuck with that. Heavy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't make sense regardless, in my opinion. Like,
Sure.
just in my opinion, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They kind of go hand in hand.
For sure.
Yeah.
Final
I
thoughts,
will
Ronan.
say putting Gojo over Megumi, putting Gojo over Megumi's fine. I will say, like, I can understand that, but I do think that, like, for people saying he is just A tier in a vacuum, I heavily disagree. Like,
Absolutely.
I think his
I
impact to the story
disagree
is
with
just
that.
great. Overall, though, as a whole, I think this tier list is pretty good. Few things I disagree with. I mean, I was expected because it's vastly different from my list, but we had a genuine conversation about things, changed my opinion about things, heard some of the passion from people talking about their favorite characters. So, you know, I like the conversation. It's always interesting and fun to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen.
Hell yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. This tier list, this was fun.
Yes.
Definitely got more involved than I thought I would. I feel like a lot of the conversations held here swayed my opinion on a lot of characters. But like I ain't gonna lie, after this tier list, like me and Doncho and Ronan, like we gonna have to work, bro. For real. Ain't gonna lie. Ain't gonna lie.
Fucking go. Absolutely. Final thoughts, Nick?
I really love how balanced the tier list is actually. Like
Right.
I was favoring a lot of characters to be a little higher, right? So
Yes.
my tier list was like I only had 5 in Cheeks, and I had pretty low in D, right? But we actually did a very, very balanced tier list, and I think that speaks to how objective as we were pretty objective as we could be, right? And we had good conversations. We were very respective of other people's opinions or whatever.
Absolutely.
So I think this is a very solid list. You know what I mean?
I think this was a successful stream through and through. I think that for the sake of time, we kind of brushed over some words that we could have said about some other characters. I feel like Haruto Shigemo could have gotten a little bit more words, even though it's pretty obvious that we agree that he should be in Cheeks, but we probably could have talked about him a little bit more in a way that could have potentially boosted him up to D. But either way, it's a character that like no one really cares about too much. Other than that, like, I mean, obviously the S tier is the most controversial, and we always knew it was going to be. But this conversation was like everything, bro. Like, this is a conversation that I've been waiting to have for so long throughout all the scheduling issues that we've had. You know, obviously we wish that Kiko and Eagle could have been here as well. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, this was amazing. Like, this is one of my favorite conversations that I've ever had doing what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So,
This was fire.
big shout out to Doncho, big shout out to Sin, big shout out to Ronan. Thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this.
Yeah.
This, I feel like, is history for Project Manga. This is the first time we've done a tier list. But I mean, like, outside of the tier list, this is just one of the strongest conversations I've seen in this craft personally. You know what I mean? Like, I had a blast with you guys, for real.
Yo,
It
I
didn't
think
get
I'm gonna do
toxic,
this.
nothing like that, you know.
I think I want to do this tier list again.
Yeah.
But with power scaling.
Let's do the strength one. Let's
Ooh,
do
yo,
the
yo.
strength
Oh my
one.
God, bro.
We should
Oh my
totally do
God.
the strength one after this. This is something that people obviously DM'd me about once the promotion went out for this. They're like, why are you doing it on character and not strength? Well, do you watch our show? Anyway, like, you know, like, and I'm happy about like us doing it this way first, because obviously this is the way that it should be in my opinion. But a strength based one, a power scaling based one is definitely so necessary for a series like this that cares so much about power, energy system, abilities, and choreography. We gotta do a strength based one eventually.
That'd be fire.
Absolutely.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
That shit gonna be that's gonna take so much more
I
time. though,
know.
Yeah.
But that shit gonna be fire.
Because
though.
the power scaling community gonna be in our cheeks like this, like, hold on, bruh.
Like, it's gonna, like, no matter how we do that list, bro, it's gonna be people that's like, this is ass.
Yeah. And I feel like even inside of a list like this, you know what I mean, where it's based on character, regardless of how amazing of a conversation that we had,
There's people
you know,
gonna be upset
prepared.
about certain
Yeah,
picks.
absolutely. Like when this
For
hits
sure.
YouTube, especially, be prepared. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh yeah, that's them comments.
but
I'm gonna be in them comments.
I honestly, I don't see how anyone after like anyone who like looks at the list can say whatever the fuck they want to say. But after listening to the conversation, I'm really curious to see if there's really like pissed off people. You know what I mean? Like about this list, because we all got in
My
our
man, Doncho
bag,
not
Duffy,
happy right now, bro.
Jansport, whatever you want to call it. We went crazy tonight as analysts, as fans. You know what I mean? And I just hope that you guys all out there enjoyed the conversation. There's still 82 people here. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, they
I don't think
rock
we've
the
ever
whole
seen.
time.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen numbers like this on one of our
Yeah.
streams on
Right.
Twitch. So thank you so much, you guys.
Thank y'all so
I think
much.
that this surpasses our viewer count for our like Project Manga Awards
Yeah,
that we had a couple months ago, which is
y'all
pretty
hit like
crazy.
y'all hit like 116 at one point.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild, you guys. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I'm so sorry that we couldn't really get to a lot of the comments like we usually do when we go live, but there was just so many, you know, panelists, and we had such a big conversation. I'm sure you guys are okay with that. But pull up, you know, for the YouTube premiere, because when this hits YouTube, we're obviously not involved in the conversation. That's where we can just kick it and talk to you guys about the conversation. But Broken Ronin, Sensei Inc., Doncho's Hideout, you guys have been such a joy to have here for this stream. I honestly don't think this could have gone any better, to be honest with you. And I'm just so happy that we finally got together to do this amidst all of the scheduling issues that we had. So thank you guys so much for joining us, man.
Thank you for inviting me.
For sure,
Yeah.
bro. Appreciate
Yeah.
you having me,
Same,
bro.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. But yeah, so wrapping up, couple things. Thank you all so much for 2,000 subscribers. Once again, this is what this whole thing is for. I know that we're not on YouTube right now, but that was just to account for some of the technical issues that we had the last time we tried to go live. But we will throw this on Patreon in the morning for those, you know, who pulled up late or wanted to just catch it on Patreon or something like that. It'll be there for you first thing. And then a couple days later, we'll put it on YouTube. I don't know exactly when yet, but if you absolutely need to see the conversation and you showed up late, follow us on Patreon, subscribe on Patreon. It'll be right there for you in a couple of hours. But other than that, wow. Oh yeah, and I'll make sure that I put the links for Doncho's Hideout, Sensei Inc., and Sensei, both of his channels, because you need to check out both of those, and the Broken Ronin's channel. All of those links, you guys can see them on Twitter if you're watching, you know, the video way. Otherwise, those links for their Twitter.
The One Piece guy,
everything.
who's that?
Yeah, everything will be down.
I'm
you know.
JJ Kaisen right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but yeah, I'll throw all the links down there, and you guys can indulge, you know, whenever you know it hits YouTube for the YouTube viewers out there. But all right, you guys, Jujutsu Kaisen character tier list 2021. That is going to do it, you guys. Thank you all so much again. We'll see you on the airwaves. Ronin, Sin, Doncho. One more time, thanks again, you guys. Please follow them everywhere you can find them. Obviously, their content is worth it based on this conversation. If this is your first time seeing these guys, please check out what they got going on. And of course, follow us on Twitter, join our Discord, visit our About section on Twitch, and you can see everything that that Project Manga's got going on. But all right, everybody, wrapping up, I'm your host, Nox.
And Nickums.
And we will catch y'all next time. Take it easy.